This film is purely fictional. Please do not imitate it. Your like and subscribe are the motivation for me to update. Chapter 263. After leaving the room, many players were terrified, especially when they saw the body hanging in the air in the hallway. Xiao Hui was dead. The remaining people were scattered. "Let's go! Let's get out," someone said. "It's come to this. Why don't you go to the back room and take another look?" Someone insisted, gritting their teeth. Wula took a quick look at the number of people. 8 remained. 9 people were dead in the room. Kuna had killed 6, while Su Qinyang had only killed 3. Su Qinyang was acting a lot. His killing was slow. Wula couldn't help but glance at the back of Su Qinyang's neck. Kuna, noticing her master's gaze, immediately lifted her leg slightly, revealing the black and red silk thread. This was the moving silk thread on Kuna's body. Every joint in its body is controlled and connected by fine threads running down its spine. And now, a black and red thread emerged from Kona's body, connecting to the upper spine at the back of Su Qinyang's neck. Kona tugged at it, assuring her master, "It's not broken." Wu Li's eyes flickered with surprise. A gifted talent? She couldn't help but poke Su Qinyang's lower back. Su Qinyang turned around and asked, "What's wrong? Are you afraid of Mo Feng? Then I separate the two of you and not go with someone as aggressive as him." Mo Feng heard it. These two are addicted to acting. 19 players died tonight. Really high mortality rate. As expected of her territory, she's really ruthless. Su Qinyang turned and headed for the end of the corridor, convinced that since he come all this way, he had to bring back some useful information. At first, the others were still afraid, too cowardly to move forward. But then, seeing Su Qinyang leading the way, the handsome man with a buzz cut who had opened the door for them followed suit, and the others followed suit one after another. Wula tugged at Su Qinyang's sleeve as he walked, but eventually she let go and strode forward. Su Qinyang deliberately took smaller steps, gradually increasing the distance. Mo Feng noticed his small gesture and slowed down his pace as well. Suddenly, the back of his hand was touched, and Mo Feng heard Su Qinyang say, "Help me." There was a hint of fear in his words, and Su Qinyang was afraid too. But Mo Feng didn't know what he meant. What had happened? How could he help him? Kuna stared at them with wide eyes, her small hand rubbing Su Qinyang's neck, as if she would kill him if he dared to reveal a secret. Su Qinyang knew there was nothing he could say, so he gave up. Wula walked ahead, shrouded in darkness, her white dress barely visible, the black cat's tail wrapped around her calf. Su Qinyang, with his sharp eyes, noticed this and immediately turned his flashlight around, shining it on her. He only saw 2 smooth legs, no cat. Mo Feng, you're not mistaken, I saw it too. Su Qinyang, that black cat can control the power of props. Mo Feng, it seems you experienced this too. What are you two whispering about? Do you have any clues? We're all in this together. I hope you two, bosses, will be more considerate. My name is Xiafei. A young man stepped forward to greet him. Su Qinyang remembered this man. He had hidden behind Xiao Hui both times he turned off the lights, cleverly surrounding himself with people standing on all sides, leaving him in the center, the safest position. Just now, in the room, Su Qinyang passed by many players, but never approached Xiafei. Mo Feng was cold and reserved, so naturally, he ignored him. Su Qinyang was usually gentle, and in the past, he might have paid some attention to avoid any awkwardness, but at this moment, he was in no mood and remained silent. No one responded, and Xiafei retreated awkwardly to the back. They picked the locks of each room in the corridor one by one. This time, they were smarter. No one dared to enter. The puppet's dressing room, and the next room was filled with wood of various materials. There were sawdust on the floor, carving knives on the table, and carved heads and hands on the wall cabinets. The entire second floor is filled with Miss Mary's things. Isn't she touring and just staying here? You didn't listen carefully to the story. She plans to stay here, in this town for a long time. The entire second floor is booked. There was also Miss Mary's own dressing room in the back. At the far end of the corridor, a large black door opened onto the entire hallway. This was the largest room on the second floor, Miss Mary's room. Wula didn't like so many people visiting his room, especially since it was so filthy. Wula said directly, "Su Qinyang, open the door." Okay. Su Qinyang used a prop to open the door. The door opened, revealing pitch black. Suddenly, 3 bloody hands reached out and instantly grabbed Su Qinyang, Wula, and Mo Feng, who were standing at the door. "Ah!" Wula screamed. The 3 were violently pulled into the dark room, and the door slammed shut. Outside, the others fled in terror. Inside, Wula snapped his fingers, and all the pumpkin lanterns in the room lit up. Mo Feng had been here once before, so he wasn't surprised. Su Qianyang's heart sank when he saw the wall of puppets. Did he really have a chance of winning this dungeon? Welcome to my home. Although in the dungeon plot, this is just a temporary hotel, it's actually my home in this dungeon. Would you like some chocolate or tea? Wula greeted her with the air of a ladylike hospitality. Clearly, having killed so many people tonight, she was in a good mood. Whatever, Su Qianyang said. Wula looked at Mo Feng. Mo Feng, anything. I hate it when people say whatever when asking for something. Wula pouted and turned to walk inside. The satin curtains were drawn tightly, blocking out any light. By the window stood a low round table, its stools covered with fuzzy lace cushions. This corner was perfect for a tea party. Kona dismounted from Su Qianyang's neck and approached the cabinet. The wall was covered with puppets, but one compartment was empty. Kona hopped into the empty box and sat down with her eyes closed. That was her seat. Su Qianyang stretched his neck and tentatively said, "Boss, let me take a look." "Boss?" Mo Feng looked over suspiciously. Wula lifted the top of the pumpkin lantern and held a small bowl with tweezers over the flame, melting the chocolate inside. She looked up and saw Mo Feng's expression and smiled. "You unlucky bastard. Since you won't be able to call me by my name anytime soon, just call me boss." Follow Su Qianyang. Su Qianyang's eyes widened instantly. Cheating? Cheating right in front of him. Was she like this when she took Pei Lin in? Before Mo Feng could answer, Su Qianyang raged. "He has to be fourth. He can't be ahead of me. It's okay to tolerate Pei Lin being second. Pei Lin is more valuable to you, but I'm not bad either. You're using me quite well, aren't you?" Wula paused as he melted the chocolate, then turned to stare at Su Qianyang in disbelief. Wula cursed. "You idiot." Chapter 264. Big idiot. Wula cursed loudly. Su Qianyang blushed, and he said, like a punching bag, "I'm an idiot. I'm not as smart as Pei Lin and Mo Feng, but I met you first, and everything comes first. Although I know that in the minds of powerful weirdos like you, ability comes first, regardless of precedence, but haven't I been good these past 2 days? Even though I was controlled by Kona." Wula picked up the fluffy pillow on the chair and threw it at his face. The soft, fragrant pillow didn't hurt when it hit his face. But Su Qianyang felt wronged, and while feeling uncomfortable he sighed. He's really something, a human being, to be wronged by a weirdo. He's really good at living like that. He's really a freak. Seeing his cowardly look, Wula didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wula quickly understood what Pei Lin had done. She thought it was hilarious. Pei Lin's quite good at playing tricks, even better than me, but he can only fool a fool like you. Compared to the first time she met Su Qianyang, the current Su Qianyang had improved a lot. But in Su Qianyang's own eyes, he was inferior, especially compared to Pei Lin and Mo Feng. Pei Lin had exploited this trait, making it so easy to trick him. Su Qianyang felt wronged. His voice suddenly stuck at Wu Li's words. Then, his mind raced, and he finally realized what was going on. He lied to me? He lied to me that he was second in command, and I was third because I was weaker than him, and you asked him to spread the news in Paradise Town. He was more useful than me, so he was second in command. Huh. He was lying to me. Damn. Su Qianyang laughed in anger. He was such a fool, such a fool. Lele was right. Mo Feng stood aside, listening to some big news. It turned out that the sudden spread of news about the special NPC Lele in Paradise Town was caused by Pei Lin, and it was at the NPC's behest. But the news came from the first wave of the Black and Red Guild. So, it can be inferred that Pei Lin is a high-ranking member of the Black and Red Guild, most likely the leader Red Joker or Black Joker. As for why Wula spread this news in Paradise Town, Mo Feng figured it out instantly. Funny. Su Qianyang realized he'd been tricked. Although he was angry, he was also happy. It turns out he'd always been second in command. Pei Lin was behind him, ha. Su Qianyang turned around and pulled Mo Feng forward, saying, Lele is the boss, let him be third. Pei Lin is dishonest, let him be fourth. Wula imitated Su Qianyang's aggrieved tone. Everything should be based on first come, first served. Su Qianyang's face flushed. Mo Feng said, as if jokingly, didn't anyone ask for my opinion? Su Qianyang slapped Mo Feng in the face. Once you missed this opportunity, you idiot. The word idiot sounded exactly like Wu Li's. Mo Feng felt that Su Qianyang and Wula really were a bit alike sometimes. They both loved to imitate each other. After hearing these words, Mo Feng roughly understood the situation and was simply puzzled. Why are you befriending human players? Wula continued melting chocolate. I'm not befriending you, you're the ones who want to befriend me. If you don't obey, I kill you, hee hee. Su Qianyang whispered. She really knows how to kill, and sometimes she likes to start with her minions. Mo Feng, you're not dead yet. Su Qianyang, it's all my skill. Wula rolled his eyes and asked, will you be my little brother? Aren't the familiar lines in most scripts like, call me big brother, be my little brother, and I protect you, and let you run rampant in infinite horror game. But when it came to Wula, it was just one question, will you be my little brother? Her expression made it seem as if she'd be ungrateful to refuse. Mo Feng's eyes flickered as he said, yes. Fourth brother. Wula curled her lips in a smile. Big brother. Mo Feng showed a rare awkward expression, even looking away. Su Qianyang watched the show. He was in a good mood, his position was secure. Wula took out 3 cups, poured the chocolate into them, then took the brewed black tea nearby and poured it over the chocolate. Instantly, a strange fragrance emanated. Su Qianyang leaned in closer. Boss, is this any good? You said whatever, drink it all. Wula raised his eyes. Come and sit down. The low table was covered with a lace tablecloth, and the stools were small and plush. Wula sat down demurely, her posture beautiful. The 2 men across from her, about 5 feet tall, looked less impressive. They sat with their long legs bent, one leaning against the low table. Most importantly, one was wearing a gray t-shirt, the other a black crewneck short-sleeved shirt. They looked ugly and drab. Wula said with a hint of disgust, you've ruined the harmony in this room. Su Qianyang smiled awkwardly. Mo Feng asked directly, what are you planning? Su Qianyang said nothing, simply raising his hand to touch the back of his neck. He could feel the silk thread, still throbbing. He caught sight of Kona resting with her eyes closed in the cabinet, not far away, and his heart sank. Wulu ignored Mo Feng. She was already thinking about how to punish Pei Lin, this bad little brother. He had the audacity to deceive Su Qianyang in her name. Su Qianyang, Pei Lin deceived you. Do you want to trick him back? Wula asked excitedly. Chapter 265. Pei Lin woke up to find himself alone in the room. Mo Feng and Su Qianyang were gone. A sharp pain shot through his back as he moved. Pei Lin raised his hand with difficulty, his entire arm trembling. He knew he screwed up. Failure in a dungeon carries a high probability of death. But he wasn't completely lost, because he had a backup plan. Pei Lin accessed his personal store and bought himself some top-tier healing potion. Top-tier healing potion, no matter how serious your injury, can bring you back to life, restoring you to peak health as long as you have a breath left. This potion was expensive, but how could the Black and Red Guild's boss afford it? In horror game, players of his caliber were like using cheats. Having cheats didn't guarantee immortality, they just gave players a better chance than ordinary players. But in horror game, no one could be sure what would happen next. Pei Lin healed himself and slowly stood up, stretching his muscles. Only after he was sure he was alright did he breathe a sigh of relief. He had a vague idea of Dada's personality. You couldn't taunt or provoke him, you had to be accommodating, and that was a lot of accommodating. And Su Qianyang, he was a bit strange. Crescent Moon. Pei Lin was completely certain his god-level item was missing, taken by Dada. A weirdo would actually steal a player's item. Pei Lin checked the house. No one was there. Su Qianyang, Mo Feng, and Dada were all out. He returned to his room, showered, changed into clean clothes, and went out again. In broad daylight, the town was bustling with activity. Residents and even some outsiders could be seen everywhere. Many NPCs were chatting on the streets, in the gardens, and in the bakery. Pei Lin stood by and listened. The NPCs' conversations fell into 3 general topics. First, the mayor's wife's death was related to the demon Dada. Second, where was Dada? The demon Dada had vanished from the mortal world. Third, tomorrow was the weekend, and Miss Mary's spectacular performance was about to begin again. They had to grab a good seat. After some inquiries, Pei Lin had a general idea of what was going on. Seeing that night was approaching, Pei Lin headed straight for the inn. He couldn't find Dada, so he had to look for the key NPC, Miss Mary. Contacting these 2 NPCs more often would help him exit the dungeon faster. Others would be afraid and timid, but Pei Lin was someone who would act decisively. At dusk, after a day of overcast skies, a vast expanse of fiery clouds suddenly appeared, dyeing the sky red, looking like the end of the world. The plump landlady on the first floor was mopping the floor, humming an unknown song. Pei Lin passed by and stopped. Are you going upstairs to see Miss Mary? Yes, I'm a loyal fan. I love her puppet show. She's performing tomorrow. and I wanted to come visit and ask if Miss Mary needs any help," Pei Lin said with a reverent look. "I've seen people like you many times. You say you want to help, but really you just want to see Miss Mary, talk to her, get close to her, or even. You're not a good person." The landlady said disdainfully. "Miss Mary has guests tonight. You better go back." "If she's seeing other guests, can't she see me?" Pei Lin asked persistently. The landlady twisted her plump hips and walked away, clearly disliking Pei Lin. Pei Lin felt the landlady's attitude towards him was particularly awful today, unlike last time. Pei Lin went upstairs and, upon reaching the landing, was immediately struck by the strong smell of blood. As expected, upon entering, he saw corpses hanging in the hallway, all players. It seemed a fierce battle had taken place there that morning. Pei Lin dodged the corpses and headed straight for the innermost room. Reaching the door, he knocked gently. The knock interrupted the ritual within. A red string attached to the puppet Mia's neck was wrapped around Mo Feng's neck, about to connect to his spine, when a sudden knock sounded. Mia shuddered, and the string fell. Su Qianyang watched anxiously as this unfolded. Mo Feng sat stupidly in his chair, motionless. Su Qianyang tried to stop him, but the puppet Kona controlled his body, preventing him from moving or shouting. Yes, he had been controlled by the puppet since the day he recognized Wu Lu. Although he had a certain degree of freedom and a clear mind, his body occasionally lost control, as when he went to kill the mayor's wife in the middle of the night. Su Qianyang clearly felt that his body was being controlled by Kana, who was following Lo Li's orders. Su Qianyang wanted to ask Mo Feng for help, but it was too late. Lila treated them to black tea and chocolate. As they were talking, a puppet suddenly jumped out of the cabinet and sat on Mo Feng's neck, a red silk thread fluttering. What a familiar scene! Su Qianyang knew that Mo Feng was also being controlled. But he couldn't stop it. Not only could he not save himself, but he had to watch helplessly as Mo Feng was controlled like himself. This rhythm, it was over. But a knock on the door interrupted the puppet control ritual. Wu Lu slowly took a sip of the black tea. It was sweet, and the chocolate flavor was fragrant. Then she looked towards the door. A small wooden puppet jumped out of the closet, clattering to the front door, and peered through the crack. The puppet turned its head and silently opened its mouth. It clearly didn't speak. But as a fellow creature, and Su Qianyang, who was connected to it, could hear it. The puppet said, "He's been here before. He's a tall, somewhat good-looking human." The only people who had been here before were Pei Lin and Mo Feng. Since Mo Feng was here, it could only be Pei Lin outside. Su Qianyang was surprised. "Isn't Pei Lin paralyzed?" "Wu Lu, he's cured. His points are like a bottomless pit," Su Qianyang commented. Wu Lu also commented, "The boss of the Black and Red Guild must have accumulated a lot of money, and can afford the best items and medicines." Su Qianyang laughed. "Lulu, you talk like a player now, not a weirdo anymore." "Yes, I'm a player. You and Old Four are weirdos," Wu Lu grinned. Su Qianyang watched her smile and felt a chill run down his spine. Wu Lu manually grasped Mia's red string and pierced it directly into the upper spine of Mo Feng's neck. "Done, Mia. Follow the fourth brother. I stole a doll from him, and now you stay with him." Mia obediently sat on Mo Feng's neck, cradling his head. Kona also sat on Su Qianyang's neck. Mo Feng regained consciousness and instantly felt the object on his neck, sensing his brief memory loss. Mo Feng tried to retreat, but found himself unable to move. He could only ask, "What did you just do to me?" "Su Qianyang," asked the eldest brother. "It was her, not me." Wu Lu didn't answer, only saying, "The puppet sitting on your neck is Mia. It's your partner. You must not be disrespectful to it. All the puppets in this room are our family. We need harmony in our big family. You must obey the eldest brother, understand, fourth brother?" Wu Lu relished being the boss, especially when she deliberately called him fourth brother, which made Mo Feng look awkward. The room was peaceful, while outside, Pei Lin was ignored. Wasn't Miss Mary supposed to be entertaining guests? She was inside, so why was there no one answering the door? At this point, Pei Lin didn't realize he was being isolated. Chapter 266. Pei Lin waited at the door for a long time, but Miss Mary still didn't open it. It seemed she didn't want to see him, so he finally gave up. When he went downstairs, the portly landlady saw him coming down alone and gave him a sneer. "Don't worry, you can see Miss Mary at the church tomorrow. She'd be performing a wonderful puppet show for everyone." Pei Lin didn't answer and simply left. Not long after he left, two men from upstairs came down. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng both looked a little grim, each with a puppet sitting around their neck. The landlady saw them and greeted them warmly, Miss Mary likes you very much. She's going to perform tomorrow. You must help her with the show. We're all looking forward to it. The monsters were all looking forward to tomorrow. And these two humans were Miss Mary's chosen ones, their companions for the time being. Mo Feng and Su Qinyang also left the hotel in silence. They took a detour to avoid running into Pei Lin along the way. The atmosphere on the walk was too depressing. Su Qinyang tried to lighten the mood, saying, Mo Feng, is this exciting? We're traitors. Mo Feng, who did we betray? We've never been on the same team with anyone. Ourselves are the most important thing. Indeed, the three of us are just like plastic teammates, ready to disband at any time. Did you kill the mayor's wife, or did the puppet do it? Mo Feng asked bluntly. Su Qinyang's expression was complicated. I did. He had struck her with the axe, the puppet was merely guiding him. Mo Feng, are you out of control? The two puppets, Kona and Mia, sat on their necks, their eyes wide open, listening intently to their conversation. The two ignored them. Su Qinyang pondered, my mind is clear, and my actions are under control. I don't think I'm out of control, and Kona isn't controlling me. But I also feel like she's controlling me. I was excited before the kill, and my excitement reached its peak at the moment of the kill. I also killed the player in the room on the second floor. I found myself actually enjoying the killing, but when the excitement faded, I felt a strangeness, a different me. I was terrified. I suspected Kona was influencing me, so I asked you for help. As a result, I'm now the same as you. Mo Feng raised his hand and touched the back of his neck. Mia's lips curled up. Our spines are connected to the red line on their bodies. It's affecting us, Mo Feng said with certainty. We are now part of the weird. Su Qinyang was very clear on this. Lila did, but she said we were weird and she was a player. I don't quite understand. Mo Feng murmured, she's a player. Just returned to the farm. It was dusk, overcast, but over there, a fiery sunset. The farm was on fire. The flames shot up into the sky, the horses in the stable bleated, and the sheep scattered. The two men were stunned by the scene. Su Qinyang ran over quickly, grabbed a piece of clothing hanging on a bamboo pole, and ran under the tap to wet it. Then, draped in the wet clothing, he rushed into the stable, untied the tied horses, and pulled them out. Mo Feng followed. These horses are just part of the game, not real life. Why are you saving them? Su Qinyang, they are also life. Maybe they are different from the life we know, but they all existed. So the mayor's wife he killed, and all the strange creatures he killed before, were actually a kind of life, just not a normal life. The more he killed, the more sensitive Su Qinyang became to it. Who burned down the farm? Su Qinyang wondered. Why hasn't Pei Lin returned yet? Speak of someone, and they come. Pei Lin came running over from a distance. He looked at the two people standing safe and sound at the door, and the four animals that had escaped. Did you see the arsonist? No, Su Qinyang shook his head. Mo Feng, Pei Lin, who do you think set the fire? Pei Lin, Dada. Su Qinyang feigned. He has mobility issues. Setting the fire would be self-destructive. Pei Lin looked at Su Qinyang like he was stupid. Have you forgotten how agile he was when he attacked me? And before I left, I was the only one in the room. Dada was gone. Was Dada still there when you left? Su Qinyang, after he severely injured you, he went back to his room. I haven't seen him since. Mo Feng, have you fully recovered? I'm fine. Where were you? Pei Lin suddenly approached Mo Feng, sniffed, and then looked back at Su Qinyang. Su Qinyang felt a little guilty. What's wrong? You smell good. You came from the same place, Pei Lin said, hinting. Su Qinyang tried to calm himself. Pei Lin certainly didn't know, he was just trying to trick them. Mo Feng continued, what's that smell? Tea, probably black tea, and chocolate. The chocolate is very strong. Mo Feng, we went to a clothing store. The owner treated us to chocolate and black tea. We also learned that Miss Mary often went there to buy fabric. She must have made clothes for her puppets herself. She loved her puppets very much. Su Qinyang said, I followed some players to the inn. Many people died, and I escaped. The two seemed to be covering up, but there was actually a huge loophole, and they hoped Pei Lin would discover it. The farm burned down, and they had no place to stay for the night. The flames attracted many townspeople, and a group of NPCs helped put out the fire. They cursed the fire, blaming the evil Dada for bringing disaster and misfortune to the town. We must find Dada and burn him to death. 3 poor migrant workers had nowhere to stay, and the mayor, as a leader, set an example by taking them in. And so, Pei Lin, Su Qinyang, and Mo Feng moved in with the mayor's family. The mayor's wife had recently passed away, and her portrait still hung in the living room. The blood-stained carpet hadn't been thrown away, and the sofa and table were covered with white cloths. The mayor said, "This is a sad place. We shouldn't stay here. The three of you should stay on the second floor. If you need to leave, go out the back door." Su Qinyang stared blankly at the black bloodstains on the ground. Kana whispered into Su Qinyang's ear, "You're incredibly strong. With one blow of the axe, you severed her spine." She didn't even have time to scream before her lower body collapsed. The sound of bones breaking was so crisp and beautiful. "What do you think?" It was a little girl's voice, tinged with a terrifying laugh. Pei Lin noticed Su Qinyang's daze, and patted his shoulder. "What are you looking at?" Su Qinyang came back to his senses, his face a little pale. He said, "I'm a little tired." "Pei Lin, go back and exercise." Mo Feng also patted Su Qinyang's shoulder, using a little force, to remind him not to lose focus. Mo Feng could hear Kana's words now. The mayor arranged 3 rooms for them, and said, "Tomorrow is a good day. Miss Mary will perform a wonderful puppet show in the church on the weekend. Don't sleep too late, and don't be late." Chapter 267. A fire broke out on the farm, and the puppet in charge of surveillance had already informed Miss Mary of the news. The 3 players were taken in by the mayor. The disabled young man in the house disappeared. When he reappeared, he appeared pitifully on the second floor of the inn, more precisely, at the door of Miss Mary's room. When Wula opened the door, she saw Dada, dressed beautifully, looking at her eagerly. He said, "The farm's on fire, and I have nowhere to go. I can't let them catch me. Lele, can you take me in?" Wula wanted to laugh. The little wooden puppet saw the farm on fire, and immediately came to tell me. Guess what it said? Dada looked innocent. What did it say? It said it saw you set Pei Lin's sheets on fire, kick over Su Qinyang's things, step on Mo Feng's coat, and pour diesel on the stairs. Finally, you stood up and left. And now, Dada was still leaning against the doorway, his legs weak and pitiful, unable to stand. His slightly outstretched hand silently expressed his hope that Wulu would help him, touch him. Exposed, Dada showed no remorse. He simply straightened himself. His tall, slender figure, long hair reaching below his ears, flowing bangs, and beautiful face resembled an angel. He reached out and took Wuli's hand, leaning over to kiss the back of her hand, and said seductively, "Mom, don't you want me anymore?" The word "Mom" made Wuli's eyes tremble. Wulu was delighted. She took his hand and pulled him straight into the house, slamming the door shut. Late at night, the mayor was already fast asleep, his snoring audible even through the door. The 3 men quietly explored the house. Dada once lived here, so perhaps there are some secrets here. Ever since Dada returned to town, people have been dying unexpectedly, and Dada has become a demon the townspeople want to kill. The second floor is the main living area, and Pei Lin is searching for it. The third floor is said to be where Dada once lived, and Su Qinyang is going to check it out. Mo Feng is in charge of the first floor, the living room, where the murder occurred. Mo Feng only went to the kitchen when he turned back to see a woman covered in blood sitting on the sofa. Lele had already taken the cursed doll, so why is he still so unlucky? Mo Feng calmly approached, trying to go upstairs past her, but she suddenly turned and their eyes met. Mo Feng then recognized that the blood-soaked woman was the deceased mayor's wife. How could a dead NPC reappear? A ghost? The mayor's wife stared at Mo Feng and said, "It's so late. Why aren't the guests resting yet?" She can actually speak. This is a problem. Mo Feng tried to fool her. "I'm thirsty, so I came down to get some water. I'm just about to go upstairs now. You should go back to your room and get some rest." "I'm dead. I can't leave here," she said. Mo Feng nervously asked, "Do you remember who killed you?" The mayor's wife was about to speak when footsteps suddenly sounded on the stairs. Mo Feng turned and saw Pei Lin coming down. Pei Lin wasn't surprised to see the mayor's wife's ghost. He even said deliberately, "We stayed up late at night to investigate your death. Do you remember who killed you?" Mo Feng was nervous, worried about Su Qinyang. Su Qinyang was still upstairs. The mayor's wife was heartbroken when she mentioned her murder, sobbing loudly. "I didn't see it, but I know there was a very tall man standing behind me. He gave me the same feeling as you guys, the same aura. Did you kill me?" Suddenly, she went berserk, and Mo Feng was instantly relieved. He grabbed Pei Lin and said, "Let's go. She's going to transform." Pei Lin remained calm. "She can't leave this room. If she's in danger, we can just jump out the window. The key now is to get more information. Stop asking. Continuing to ask will only exacerbate her transformation. At this moment, the mayor's wife was convulsing, blood spurting from her back, and the sound of bones creaking and grinding against her spine could be heard. Why kill me? Why kill me? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Or you? She stared at Pei Lin, then at Mo Feng, as if unsure. Pei Lin retreated cautiously, looking at Mo Feng with suspicion. Mo Feng caught a glimpse of his expression, and the cold-blooded man almost laughed in anger. Is it his bad luck that he has to take the blame for Su Qinyang? Mo Feng. She must have been killed by a player, because she said the killer's aura was very similar to ours. Pei Lin, yes. The mayor's wife suddenly pounced on Pei Lin, who leaped and grabbed the handrail above, pulling himself up. Then, using his hips to swing upward, he climbed directly to the second floor. The mayor's wife chased him up the stairs, unable to stand. She crawled with her upper body, dragging her legs, and blood splattered all over the floor. Mo Feng dodged to the side, and realized she wasn't attacking him. Her only prey seemed to be Pei Lin. Mo Feng stared at Mia, who sat on his neck in the reflective vase, and asked, Is it because of you? Mia giggled, You're our partner. No weirdness can hurt you. At that moment, Mo Feng understood clearly why Wu Lu had called Su Qinyang and him weird. It was so obvious, Mo Feng immediately followed the mad mayor's wife, running ahead of her and pretending to be attacked. I hid while Pei Lin went upstairs. Mo Feng painstakingly acted out the attack, and just when he thought it was working, when Pei Lin finally reappeared, he was holding a bottle of medicine. Testosterone undecanoate capsules. Your husband, the mayor, is infertile. You can't have children. The mayor's wife, still frantic one moment, suddenly collapsed to the ground, her back pierced by the blood and bones of her broken spine. She cried, I did it wrong. It's my fault. I don't want to be a mother anymore. I don't want to be a mother anymore. I don't want to be a mother anymore. She kept rambling, her words incoherently. Su Qinyang came down and saw this scene. Suddenly, a rooster crowed outside the window. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. The mayor's wife's ghost also suddenly vanished. The room was silent for a second, and the next second, the mayor Lu Lei's snoring filled the air. Mo Feng knew everything was alright, and he exchanged a glance with Su Qinyang. Su Qinyang had actually heard the noise downstairs, but hearing the mayor's wife's voice, he didn't dare come down. He didn't want to be identified as the murderer at the scene. The puppet, Kona, kept teasing Su Qinyang, calling him a coward. She didn't see your face, so what are you afraid of? Haven't you heard the saying, a guilty conscience? You're such a coward. I don't know why your mother fell in love with you. You don't deserve her, Kona scoffed. But Su Qinyang's focus was on, Mom. You call Lele Mom? She made me. I'm her doll. Why can't I call you Mom? I thought you call me Master. Master is Mom, and Mom is Master. Kona's every call to Mom was filled with possessiveness, just as all dolls feel towards Miss Mary. Chapter 268. Pei Lin stared at the two men with suspicion, then reached out and grabbed their clothes, one each, and dragged them up to the third floor. Pei Lin, why are you pulling me? I follow. Su Qinyang tugged at his shirt. What's wrong with you? Dawn's only a few hours away. Let's catch up on some sleep. We have a tough battle to face. Mo Feng didn't like having his clothes pulled, so he used brute force to push Pei Lin away. Pei Lin stopped, turned around and smiled at the two men. You two are up to something. Su Qinyang said innocently, No. Mo Feng folded his arms, and said nothing. Come up first, don't wake the mayor. Pei Lin turned and went upstairs. Su Qinyang and Mo Feng exchanged a glance and followed silently. They wouldn't admit anything, so Pei Lin could just guess. Tomorrow morning will be the real show. On the third floor, in the small attic, it was dim and dark. 3 people stood in the darkness, eerie and gloomy. Pei Lin spoke first. Before returning to the farm, I met a player who had escaped from the inn. His name was CFA. Guess what he told me? Su Qinyang, it was just that many players died in the inn. I was an eyewitness. You can ask me, and I tell you more clearly what happened. Will you really tell me? But you're hiding everything. Pei Lin asked himself, answering his own question. Mo Feng stood in the darkness, his breathing barely audible, like an invisible man. Su Qinyang said impatiently, Pei Lin, what are you trying to say? Tell me now. I don't have time to be so sarcastic with you. I need to rest. Tomorrow is the weekend, and I have to go to church to hear Miss Mary's performance. If I don't go or am late, I definitely die. Pei Lin also got straight to the point. CFA said that in a room where the puppet's clothes are kept, the puppet secretly murdered someone, And you're the only one who saw the puppet. And where's your sister? He placed a particularly heavy emphasis on the last sentence. At this moment, Mo Feng sighed silently. He couldn't hide it. But could they be blamed for this loophole? It had to be Leilei's fault. She had insisted on creating a new identity for herself, and now it's become a major leak. Pei Lin, you both smell like black tea and chocolate, but I didn't tell you. I actually smelled perfume on you. I smelled it in Miss Mary's room. Pei Lin had been in Miss Mary's room before and remembered the scent. Su Qianyang, his defense broken, sarcastically said, "You have a dog nose." Pei Lin, you two have met Miss Mary. Is your sister Miss Mary? Su Qianyang, I've never seen you so familiar with that NPC, unless it was her. Still being so evasive and cautious at this moment. Su Qianyang instantly realized that Pei Lin didn't know Mo Feng knew Leilei, so he was hiding it from him. Pei Lin was playing a trick, ensuring Su Qianyang understood, but at the same time, he didn't want Mo Feng to know too much. Plastic team, they were right. Leilei had caused all the trouble. How could they fix it now? Su Qianyang lied with his eyes wide open. It's not her. If it was her, why wouldn't she see you? Pei Lin was also confused, but he didn't want to admit it. Could it be that Leilei didn't want to see him? Pei Lin, my one whiz gone. She's always loved it. Su Qianyang, I saw Dada take it with my own eyes. This is really none of Miss Mary's business. Pei Lin, have you two met Miss Mary? Su Qianyang, Mo Feng spoke up. Yes, we have. We were even treated to a cup of black tea and chocolate. Pei Lin nodded in satisfaction. What did you talk about? Mo Feng, her performance tomorrow is very complex, and she needs 2 assistants to help manipulate the puppet strings. Su Qianyang and I were chosen, and she trained us on how to control the puppets. Su Qianyang mentally gave a thumbs up. It turns out Pei Lin and I aren't the only ones who lie. Mo Feng is just quiet, not incapable of lying. In this dungeon, talking nonsense is a skill. Pei Lin volunteered what he had discovered tonight. I found this bottle of medicine in the master bedroom. Testosterone undecanoate capsules, a medication for male infertility. The mayor is infertile, or more accurately, infertile. He's taking this medicine because he wants a child. Su Qianyang, so Dada isn't his biological son? Pei Lin, there are 2 possibilities. One is that Dada is his biological son, but he became a useless child after being raised. The mayor wanted a second child, but found out he's not healthy enough, so he's taking medicine to have a child. The second possibility is that Dada isn't his biological son. The mayor has been infertile from the beginning. So, if Dada isn't his biological son, where did he come from? Mo Feng, I think Dada isn't his biological son. The mayor's wife keeps crying and saying she doesn't want to be a mother anymore. She's wrong. She was wrong. She probably longed to be a mother, and then she succeeded in becoming Dada's mother. In the end, Dada brought misfortune. He's a demon. The mayor's wife regrets it, and the mayor regrets it too. He keeps taking medicine, hoping to have a child of his own. Su Qianyang, the question is back to square one. Where did Dada come from? He's very beautiful. Pei Lin was looking at Su Qianyang when he said this. Su Qianyang noticed the gaze and felt Pei Lin was hinting. A beautiful male NPC, possibly Leilei. Su Qianyang didn't take the hint and simply said, maybe we know the answer tomorrow morning. The 3 of them returned to their rooms to sleep. After 3 hours sleep, they woke up, washed up, and left through the back door. Early in the morning, at the crack of dawn, many players had already gathered at the church. The residents haven't arrived yet. I guess they won't be this early. I heard the performance starts at 10 a.m. We're too early. It's okay. It's safer to come early. If you're late, you definitely trigger the death condition. Let's scout the church first and go in. A number of players had gathered there. As the crowd grew, some people started organizing a group to go inside and take a look. The church was located in the heart of town, with roads leading in all directions. The surrounding flower beds were in full bloom. The church doors were tightly closed, and a large mechanical clock towered above. The townspeople, busy with their daily farm work, were unaware of the time, but occasionally glanced up at the tall church bell to tell the time. CFAI turned around and saw Su Qianyang, Mo Feng, and another senior official approaching. CFAI immediately stepped forward. The senior officials are here, and we're just about to go into the church to take a look. Do you think it's okay to go in? Pei Lin said, go ahead. Pei Lin's words reassured CFAI. Zhang Xiaoang, upon seeing Su Qianyang, couldn't help but look for someone. He asked, where's your sister? Su Qianyang frowned at the sudden question. Pei Lin also deliberately asked, "Yes, where's your sister? I heard she's very beautiful. You and I haven't seen her in all these days." Chapter 269. Both sides pressed the whereabouts of their non-existent sister. Kina held Su Qianyang's head and whispered in his ear, "Do you regret not killing all the humans in our dressing room? Those who escaped would have leaked the secret, just like now. How are you going to explain this?" Mo Feng also heard what the puppet said. So, all the humans who died in that room were Su Qianyang's. Mo Feng was slightly startled, and looked at Su Qianyang with a hint of sympathy. At the same time, he had a slight sense of foreboding. Would he, like Su Qianyang, be controlled to kill? Su Qianyang blocked out Kina's voice and seriously confronted the others. In fact, Pei Lin had already guessed that Lei Lei was in this dungeon, but he had no definitive proof. The moment the crescent moon was stolen, Pei Lin had suspected it. But Pei Lin himself had also seen that it was Dada who took it. The unusual behavior of Su Qianyang and Mo Feng left Pei Lin puzzled and perplexed. As long as Lei Lei wasn't exposed by Pei Lin, there was still room for improvement, Su Qianyang hinted. He had to hold on, he couldn't let him down. "Su Qianyang, I don't have a sister." That was Miss Mary. The words fell like a boulder into a pool, and all the surrounding players looked over, especially those who had escaped the inn. Zhang Xiaoyang was the first to angrily grab his shirt by the chest. "She's a monster? Then why did you lie to her? You killed everyone in the room." Su Qianyang stood straight, unfazed by the questioning. "I had no choice but to cooperate with her to stay alive. Those people were killed by the puppets. I saw it with my own eyes. He was selling out the boss. He had to sell out Lei Lei first, otherwise he wouldn't be able to explain this sister who suddenly appeared. He could fool these people, but not Pei Lin, so he tried to tell the truth. So he chose a montage of lies, reconstructing the truth, twisting the context and angles, and misleading the listener." Su Qianyang pushed Zhang Xiaoyang away forcefully, then slowly smoothed his wrinkled clothes. "I believe any of you would have done the same thing if you were in my situation." This statement left the angry players speechless. That's right, if an important NPC approached them and asked for a show, not only to spare their lives, but also to receive some benefits, they would be horrified but also grateful for being the children of luck. "Zhang Xiaoyang, those players' deaths were also related to you. You harmed them." Su Qianyang said nonchalantly. "You can think of it that way." Xiafei's focus, however, was, "You and this person, you were dragged into the room with Miss Mary. What happened in there?" Su Qianyang smirked. "Why should I tell you?" Mo Feng stood aside, speechless. Pei Lin watched Su Qianyang's performance. Su Qianyang's acting was so obvious, Pei Lin had an answer in mind, but also a sense of loneliness. Not as good as? "If we don't ask, you never reveal that the person was Mary. You're so selfish. You've killed so many people for your own sake. Are you still human?" Zhang Xiaoyang scolded him, and Chen Yu pulled Zhang Xiaoyang aside. Xiafei wasn't as angry as Zhang Xiaoyang. He tried to smooth things over. "Stop arguing. Let's go inside and take a look at the church first. We get to know it before the performance." Although Su Qianyang had a scar on his face, he carried a formidable presence. With two powerful men at his side, the others didn't dare to offend him. Someone followed Xiafei's advice and turned to go into the church. Zhang Xiaoyang hated Su Qianyang's glare and kept staring at him. Chen Yu sighed and advised him, "Don't hold grudges. This is a dungeon, not real life. It's understandable that he would do that." "Zhang Xiaoyang, this is a dungeon, but we're human too, we're all human." "But are some people still human?" Su Qianyang heard his words clearly. His expression darkened as he said to Mo Feng, "Let's go inside and take a look. You can enter the church, but you can't touch anything behind the stage. The church can hold thousands of people. It's large and spacious. Speaking loudly inside will echo." After passing through rows of seats, they finally reached the stage. It wasn't really a stage, just a black platform with curtains on both sides to hide what was behind it. Players walked around the curtains and saw puppets placed on tables behind them. They were all dressed in beautiful new clothes and sat at the tables, their eyes realistically staring at outsiders. Upon seeing the puppets, the players' breaths paused, and only when they realized they weren't moving did they breathe a sigh of relief. With everyone here, they felt a sense of security. Some approached to examine the puppets, while others examined and fumbled around. Su Qianyang couldn't bear it any longer. "Don't touch them, or you trigger the death condition." Someone immediately withdrew their hands upon hearing this. Someone said, "If you touch them, you die." "That's too cautious." Su Qianyang said, "These puppets are all beautifully dressed, their clothes neatly clad. They definitely don't want to be dirty or messed up. If they're upset, do you think they kill you? The person who had just argued back suddenly shut up upon hearing this, and walked away awkwardly. Pei Lin approached Su Qianyang and whispered, "Do you want to atone?" Such a clear reminder. Su Qianyang looked puzzled and said only, "What Zhang Xiaoyang said makes sense." Pei Lin, your mindset is so easily swayed. What's happened to you? This old fox is pressing me. Suddenly, Mo Feng interrupted, Su Qianyang, let's go upstairs. Su Qianyang hurried to follow, not wanting to engage in excessive conversation with Pei Lin. Pei Lin was too cunning, and it was difficult to keep a secret in his presence. A small building had been erected behind the curtain, made of sticks. The church pews in front of them couldn't see the second floor behind the curtain at all. It was made of sticks, with a few planks laid on top, and it didn't look very sturdy. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng, two grown men, climbed up, and the planks swayed slightly. As they ascended, Kona and Mia jumped down, dangling in midair. The hanging silk thread connected Su Qianyang and Mo Feng. When Mo Feng moved his fingers, Mia's neck twisted. No one else could see the two puppets. But the other puppets sitting at the table could see them. Seeing their companions dancing in the air, they all laughed. Ah! Someone screamed in horror. They suddenly laughed. Get out of here! A group of people ran down in panic, struggling to get out. Some, brave enough, looked back as they ran, only to stop when they saw Pei Lin hadn't run. Don't run yet. It seems alright. They're not attacking us. Don't run. Pei Lin approached and looked at the row of laughing puppets, then peered through their eyes into the sky. Nothing's there. What are you looking at? He's asking the puppets? CFAI stepped closer. Boss Pei, have you noticed anything? Pei Lin ignored them, staring at the empty sky. He felt a faint sense of being watched. He looked toward the sky and saw two people sitting on a wooden plank, pounding their legs. They were Su Qianyang and Mo Feng. Pei Lin's expression was like a deep pool, as he stared at the sky, then at the two people above. If Su Qianyang hadn't known he couldn't see Kona and Mia, he would have suspected he had. Mo Feng reached out and wrote quickly on the back of Su Qianyang's hand. Help! Su Qianyang, a little nervous, glanced down. Kona and Mia were still spinning below, performing for their friends and paying no attention to them. Su Qianyang smiled at Pei Lin. What are you looking at? There's nothing beneath us. Don't look. There's nothing unusual here. We too are here to help. Go grab a front row seat. I'm afraid you won't be able to get one once the townspeople arrive. Pei Lin's eyes flickered, and he said with certainty, I understand. Chapter 270. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng weren't lying, they were indeed involved in the performance. Mia and Kona were the actors, sitting on a small wooden plank on the second floor, controlling two puppets. The morning had been surprisingly uneventful, and the townspeople had begun arriving one after another. It was only 9 o'clock in the morning, but most of the seats in the front of the church were already filled. By 9:30, the church was completely packed, buzzing with conversation. Pei Lin chose the center seat in the front row. CFAI, Qin Yu, and Zhang Xiaoyang sat behind Pei Lin, and the others sat a few rows back. The timid one sat in the back row, close to the door, ready to scurry out if anything went wrong. The performance began in half an hour. Mary was getting ready, in a fiery red rococo dress with puff sleeves and a black corset around her waist. Her fair fingers wore black lace gloves, and a sapphire ring adorned her middle finger. Her long, curly black hair was pulled back, and she wore a small hat. The black lace on the brim of the hat covered her eyes, revealing only her fair nose, red lips, and chin. Dada was draped in a white robe, wearing nothing underneath, her skin barely visible as she moved. I want you to finish quickly, so you can focus on me, but I also want you to slow down, so we can spend more time together. When the dungeon ends, the dungeon will close, and he and she will lose contact again. Dada reached out to comb Wu Li's hair and said, let's choose the latter. I want to be with you for a while longer, clear-headed. Sometimes we can't control the dungeon's pace. Those humans are also unpredictable. Wula looked in the mirror, and noticed a red mark on his neck. Wula looked at Dada's flawless white skin through the mirror. Dada wouldn't leave any marks. Kill everyone else save one person. Tie him up and keep him alive. That should delay the dungeon's closure. Dada really wanted to do that. Wulu, we try next time. Dada's eyes darkened. Was she rejecting this time because of those three men? Okay, pretty little Pinocchio. Mommy's going to the performance. Wait for me at home. Wula turned back. Dada bent down and kissed her lips. I wish you a successful performance. Wula felt a strange sensation, but it was normal. She kissed her own children no problem. She kissed Kona, Mia, and the others too. It was just that Mia, Kona, didn't dare bite her neck and clung to her to sleep. They only dared to climb onto her bed in the middle of the night, sleeping beside her pillow and at her feet, like little kittens. Yes, speaking of kittens. Xiao Hei came to visit last night, but Dada was clinging to her, so she didn't open the door. Upon leaving, Wula noticed numerous cat scratch marks on the door. Xiao Hei had been quite irritable last night. It was almost 10 o'clock when the oil lamps in the room suddenly went out, and the crowd suddenly fell silent, leaving the players nervous. Pei Lin surveyed his surroundings and noticed the mayor had arrived late. A curtain obscured Su Qianyang and Mo Feng, and Pei Lin had no idea what was going on inside. Xie reached out and patted Pei Lin on the shoulder. Boss Pei, where are your two friends? Why aren't they sitting in the front row? Pei Lin, didn't you see where they went? Su Qianyang and Mo Feng didn't avoid people when they climbed up the wooden scaffolding. Didn't anyone else see them? Xie, they were with you the whole time. They disappeared in the blink of an eye. There are so many people here now, I can't even see where they're sitting. Pei Lin, If others weren't paying attention, they wouldn't be able to see Su Qianyang and Mo Feng. In fact, if they weren't paying attention, many of the NPCs here would appear invisible, because they posed no threat. Pei Lin checked his watch. The performance would begin in 1 minute. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng sat on a wooden stand, looking down and spotting Wula standing behind the curtain. Wula was dressed beautifully today, like a noble lady. Through the black lace of her hat, Wula smiled at them and silently said, "Are you ready?" Su Qianyang and Mo Feng waved the red silk thread, signaling their readiness. 10 o'clock. A young woman in a red rococo dress emerged, carrying an oil lamp. The black lace of her hat obscured her eyebrows, leaving only her delicate nose, red lips, and chin visible. Through the lower half of her face, it was difficult to discern. Chen Yu and Zhang Xiaoyang discussed, "Is that the older sister?" Zhang Xiaoyang replied, "She's not fully visible, so I can't recognize her, but I guess she won't lie. I wonder what she's up to." Pei Lin was also trying to identify this person. Miss Mary, with her ballet steps, walked to the center of the stage. The next second, a multitude of tools appeared beside her, wood, with carving knives, silk thread, and fabric. She danced gracefully, her movements choreographed around the theme of puppet making. Cute, beautiful, they're all my children. The more the better. I love every one of them. She didn't speak, but the sound of her voice drifted through her lips. It was ventriloquism. I have a favorite doll. It's the most beautiful doll in the world. I'm almost done with it. I just need one last step. The noble lady loved making puppets. She loved them dearly. Was she acting herself? The oil lamp extinguished, then reignited. Wula was surrounded by a group of puppets, all animated, some dancing, some playing, some fighting. I'm so happy living with these children. I can't lose them. They have lives. I told others, but no one believed me. They all said I was crazy. Su Qianyang guided Kona over to Wula. Miss Mary picked up Kona, a strange smile on her face. She lowered her head and asked, "Do you love Mom?" Kona replied, "Yes, I want to be with you forever." The oil lamp extinguished. It reignited. A man appeared on the stage. It was Mo Feng, but he looked nervous now. He slowly approached Wula, walked up behind her, secretly took Kona, and ran off the stage. The players watched in shock. Miss Mary clutched a mechanical spine and spun joyfully, "Tonight you be perfect." She turned around, seeing a pile of puppets behind her, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Missing. Where did it go? Miss Mary's smile shattered. Instantly, the other puppets burst into tears. Gone, gone! Their cries expressed their grief. Miss Mary suddenly turned and looked down, her eyes bloodshot. Who stole my child? Mia was the first to pounce. Find it! Find it! Pei Lin quickly crouched down, but Mia missed, lunging directly at Xie behind him. Xie's face was grasped by the puppet, and before he could scream, his head was ripped off, his flesh torn apart. Mia smiled, clutching a human head. The scene horrified everyone. Ah! Murder! The puppet is alive! The townspeople and NPCs were horrified, and instantly, the entire church audience ran out, desperate to escape. The other puppets followed suit, killing people one after another. This was a siege game, and the audience below were all prey. Wula watched from the stage. Pei Lin, swords in both hands, faced the attacking puppets. His swordsmanship was excellent, and the two puppets attacked him without getting close. Though these two swords weren't as powerful as the crescent moon, they were still decent props. Wula looked up. Come down. Su Qianyang immediately came down. Wu Le handed him something. Go. Su Qianyang looked down. It was a scimitar, or more precisely, a crescent moon. Wu Lu, with a strong swing, it transforms into a long scythe. You know how to use it, right? Su Qianyang felt the crescent moon burning in his hand. Are we going to kill the mayor? I do it. Wait for me. Wu Lu, no, we're going to fight Pei Lin. Huh? Su Qianyang was stunned. You don't dare? Chapter 271. Is this a question of whether or not one dares? Is it a question of whether or not one can win? Even with a divine weapon in hand, Su Qianyang wasn't sure he could defeat Pei Lin. Pei Lin was the original owner of this weapon, so Su Qianyang wouldn't be comfortable using it the first time. Besides, is that the key point? Su Qianyang, you just revealed the story of this dungeon. Shouldn't we now capture the evil mayor who stole your puppet, seek revenge, and then find the missing data? Wu Li's story was so obvious that even a quick thought would tell the whole story. The dungeon suddenly became clear. Miss Mary's wish was to find her lost beloved puppet. As a younger brother, you should be more aware, like capturing the mayor to apologize and let the boss handle it. Now is the time to get down to business. Let's put our personal matters aside. Su Qianyang said anxiously, making a face. Wu Le shook his head, unwilling. Now's the time to deal with personal matters. Quick, tell him who's second in command and give him a good beating. Don't you want revenge? At this point, Su Qianyang was actually itching to give Pei Lin a beating. Su Qianyang knew Wu Le wanted to watch the fun, so he had to cooperate. Since the dungeon boss said he wasn't in a rush about the dungeon story, he naturally followed his boss's lead. Su Qianyang waved his hand, and the scimitar transformed into a long sickle. He leaped from the stage, the sharp sickle slashing straight at Pei Lin's neck. Pei Lin instantly bucked, his entire back pressed against the table in the back row. He turned and rolled several meters against the surface before standing upright. He crossed his hands, blocking Su Qianyang's incoming scythe with his sword. Pei Lin grabbed the sickle and demanded, You have the crescent moon, and you claim Dada took it. You liar. I just got it, too. Layli gave it to you. She's so kind to you. Pei Lin was calm, clearly having sorted everything out. Wu Le pulled out a small black lace folding fan, and sat on the edge of the stage, fanning himself with his dangling legs as he watched the confrontation. Su Qianyang didn't respond to Pei Lin, but simply smiled at Wu Le during a break in the fight. As if to say, Boss, this isn't my fault, he guessed it. Wu Le had already given Su Qianyang the crescent moon. Pei Lin would be a complete idiot if he couldn't guess it. Wu Le, hit him. Su Qianyang was pleased. Great. She told me to beat you up, Pei Lin. Did you hear that? Wu Le, what did you call him? Su Qianyang understood immediately. Third brother, the eldest brother told me, your second brother, to beat you up. Su Qianyang was unfamiliar with the crescent moon. He only dared to use it in its long weapon form, not its short scimitar form, fearing Pei Lin's hold on his neck if he got close. He felt safer at long range, but still often felt like he was about to slice his fingers. After several exchanges, it was clear that Su Qianyang was struggling, while Pei Lin was at ease. He didn't say a word, but he gave off the impression of being held back. Wu Le couldn't bear it any longer. Su Qianyang was embarrassing herself, and it was her own shame. Wu Le threw her fan, knocking away one of Pei Lin's swords, and then fought Su Qianyang single-handedly. Su Qianyang exerted force, severing the blade with a crescent blade. The tip of the sickle struck Pei Lin's neck, resting on the flesh. A drop of blood fell. Pei Lin hissed, tilting his head and lowering his eyes. I was wrong. He knew what Layli wanted to hear. Wu Le approached gracefully, skirt lifted. What's your fault? You're quite clever. With your status, your strength, and the power you command, how could you willingly rank behind a brat? Are you second best? Su Qianyang was thrilled to watch. At the same time, he was also a little frightened. He had nearly lost control of the crescent moon just now. He had always known it was a divine item, so he hadn't dared to use force during the fight, fearing he would break Pei Lin's weapon, and then, losing control, kill him. Su Qianyang had been holding back, feeling awkward. In the end, he lost control, and actually broke Pei Lin's blade, slicing through his neck. Su Qianyang stood aside, silent, surrounded by several small puppets. Like the puppets, he watched quietly, eyes wide open. Pei Lin wiped the blood from his neck, bent down, picked up the fan from the ground, and handed it to Wu Le. Lu, I respect you, but not him. You don't need to respect him, just respect me. I made you the third child, and you are the third child. Everything should be based on first come, first served. Su Qianyang, Lulu was imitating him again. He was so good at it, it was adorable. Pei Lin knew he had no chance of surpassing Su Qianyang in the rankings, so he didn't waste his energy. Don't be angry, forgive me. Pei Lin relented. Normally so arrogant, Su Qianyang couldn't help but stare a few more times at Pei Lin. Brother, how can you have two faces? Wu Le finally accepted the fan, forgiving Pei Lin. She even kindly warned him, run. The game has begun. Pei Lin froze for a second, then turned and snatched the crescent moon from Su Qianyang's hand and ran. Su Qianyang's hands were empty, and before he could react, the puppets around him pounced on Pei Lin, determined to kill him. Pei Lin, unwilling to fight, dropped his props and vanished. Su Qianyang realized, he's a player. We're going to hunt him down. We're playing a game of cat and mouse. That's right, it's us. Because Su Qianyang remembered he was on the NPC side. The boss had brought him in to play the game. Su Qianyang was just beaming with joy when he noticed Wu Li's scowl. Su Qianyang, what's wrong with you? Are you having fun? I haven't even had enough fun with the crescent moon yet, and you've already lost it? Wu Li angrily walked over to Su Qianyang and stomped on his back. Ouch! Su Qianyang cried out in pain. Unsatisfied, Wu Li raised his knee and rammed it into his crotch again. Ah! Su Qianyang screamed. Shut up and go hunt down the third brother. It's a... Chapter 272. They've rebelled. Zhang Xiaoyang said confidently, or perhaps they weren't players at all. They were transformed from monsters. The original players were killed long ago. Behind a large thorn bush, hiding were several players who had just escaped from the church. Qin Yu was delighted. You got the show, didn't you? I get it. Someone stole Mary's puppet. Find this person, find this puppet, and we can exit the dungeon. The most frightening thing about dungeons is having no clue where to go, just waiting for death. Every time you figure out how to exit a dungeon, it's exciting. There are murderous puppets everywhere out there now. It's dangerous for us to even show our heads outside. How are we going to find the thief and the lost puppet? Someone fretted. These puppets are even killing the resident NPCs. They're absolutely crazy. I knew a large-scale dungeon like this would end in a battle royal. What bad luck. That Miss Mary is so beautiful. Could it be Lele? At this, the people around him fell silent. The atmosphere fell silent for a few seconds. Qin Yu said, Are you still thinking about finding the special NPC? Think about how to get out of this dungeon first. Have you gotten any clues from the explorations these past few days? Whose family has a particularly good-looking child? They had seen Miss Mary's puppets, some the size of a palm, some the height of a calf, and even one the size of a normal 5 or 6-year-old. They assumed that the puppet that could be stolen must be a realistically crafted puppet the size of a child. This idea took hold, and the players began to reminisce. This town is full of Europeans. The children all have big eyes, fair skin, and golden hair. They're all quite pretty. Think about which child is the prettiest. Mary said that's her favorite doll, the most beautiful doll in the world. A man stood in another thorn bush. Emophone, listening to these players' conversation, felt foolish. It was a miracle they were still alive. These people had a lot of luck in the dungeon. And now, their luck was running out. Emophone quickly left with Kona in his arms. Mia arrived. A scream echoed from behind. Su Qianyang limped along the main road. Initially, he had no idea what to do, but as he turned a corner, he saw Pei Lin. Pei Lin was sitting arrogantly on a staircase, not running away, holding the crescent moon in his hand. The moment Su Qianyang spotted him, Pei Lin also looked up and saw him. Su Qianyang, fearing he might escape, hurried over, but Pei Lin didn't even move. Su Qianyang slowed his pace and approached, saying, Don't you think too highly of me? I can't kill you, but I can call the puppets. Are you really a traitor? Pei Lin scoffed. Su Qianyang, no, I've always been loyal to the boss. It's you, the traitor to our team. Stop that smug look, it's disgusting. Su Qianyang realized he'd gotten a little carried away. He glanced around, seeing no puppets, and sat down with them, feeling relieved. Looking at the crescent moon so close, Su Qianyang lied, I'm not here to kill you, I'm here to take it. Lele wants to play with it. He reached out. But when he missed the crescent moon, Pei Lin moved his hand away. His hand fell empty. Su Qianyang, the boss wants to play with it, and you, third brother, are unwilling to give it to him. Su Qianyang was quite clever, using Wu Lu to pressure Pei Lin. But Pei Lin wasn't stupid either. If she wants to play, I can offer it to her myself. I don't need you to be the middleman. Okay, no trickery. Su Qianyang knew he couldn't get the crescent moon. Pei Lin, Let's get down to business. Su Qianyang turned serious, thought for a few seconds, and then explained his current situation. Mo Feng and I are both connected to the puppet doll. We are invulnerable to other NPCs, but we've also lost our status as players completing dungeon quests. Unless someone unlocks the dungeon, we can't leave. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng were essentially half NPCs. Even if they knew the truth about the dungeon and completed the quests, they couldn't open the dungeon exit. Now they could only rely on other players, or more accurately, Pei Lin alone. Pei Lin, the hope of the entire village. Pei Lin laughed upon hearing these words. Aren't you feeling pretty good? Still sarcastically? You die if you don't. Su Qianyang said anxiously. Go find the mayor. I hold the other puppets back from you. Layli. I can hold them off for a while. Capturing the mayor, tying him up, and bringing him to Wulu is the most important matter. Pei Lin, however, remained calm and deliberately asked, Why were you walking so strangely just now? Did you hurt your leg? Thank you for your concern. You should go find the mayor. Su Qianyang gritted his teeth as he spoke each word. Pei Lin, where's Mo Feng? Su Qianyang, I don't know. He ran away, and I don't know where he went. Pei Lin assigned tasks. You go capture the mayor, and I find Mo Feng. Su Qianyang didn't understand. Is finding Mo Feng the priority right now? Pei Lin was speechless at Su Qianyang's reaction. Lula acted so clearly. If you think about it carefully, you can easily relate to the mayor and Dada. But is this instance that simple? What do you mean? Su Qianyang still didn't understand. Pei Lin, why does she need you and Mo Feng to assist in the performance? She's short of extras, someone to steal the puppet. A sudden thought struck him, and his expression brightened. The mayor and Dada are the original characters. They need to be captured and found. Mo Feng and Kona are also part of the mission. They need to be captured and found. Most people wouldn't realize that the person playing the thief on stage also needs to be captured, and the puppet stolen from the stage also needs to be found. Pei Lin's brain. Su Qianyang admired him. But Su Qianyang was momentarily puzzled. If they only need one actor, what's my role? Pei Lin sneered, rolled his eyes, and walked away, carrying his scythe. What was Su Qianyang's role? Toys, of course. Wuli's toy. Even though he knew he was just a toy for fun, Pei Lin still felt a little jealous. Fortunately, he was the one who stayed. If Su Qianyang had been a player, this dungeon would be doomed. We all die here. Pei Lin went to capture Mo Feng and find Kona. Su Qianyang also quickly went to find the mayor. The advantage of being a semi-NPC was that he could talk to the puppets. And the puppets were quite cute, willing to help find people. I saw the mayor run out of the church. He didn't go home, he followed the crowd in that direction. Do you need us to go with you? Can you defeat the mayor? The puppet thought Su Qianyang was weak. Su Qianyang, can the mayor transform? The puppet said mischievously, guess. It seems he can. So please help me, and come with me. No problem. Let's go. Several puppets leaped directly onto Su Qianyang. Some sat on his arms, tugging at his shirt, signaling him to hold them. Su Qianyang, It was just a ride, he couldn't be stingy. Mo Feng carried Kona around the town, constantly changing positions. He hoped to run into Pei Lin. He believed Pei Lin could guess the truth. In fact, he and Su Qianyang had been cheating together by dragging Pei Lin along. But whenever he approached Pei Lin's direction, Kona would remind him, go to the right. Don't go ahead. Mo Feng could only turn around. Kona's childish voice said, don't even think about looking for that human. Remember which side you're on. Don't betray. Which side am I on? Mo Feng asked coldly. Kona, from Mom's side. Mo Feng, oh. Kona made a face at him. You weren't like this when Mom was around. Why are you pretending? You're all so pretentious. The puppet not only scolded Mo Feng for pretending, but also scolded many others, such as Pei Lin, Su Qianyang, and Dada. Mo Feng carried Kona for a while, then stopped. Kona urged, go on, why are you stopping? To save my energy. TSK. Kona jumped off Mo Feng and ran straight into the bushes. Mo Feng's face fell, and he hurried to follow, only to lose her sight in the bushes a moment later. Mo Feng's expression was solemn. Kona? He called a few times, but there was still no response. Kona had run away. It was easy for Pei Lin to find him, but it was harder to find Kona, the doll that had been stolen from the stage. Just as Mo Feng was getting worried, there was movement in the bushes, and a small puppet emerged. Mia? Not Kona, but Mia. Mia gave a strange smile, her arms spread wide, as if begging for a hug. Let's go! Are you a replacement? I guess so. Where's Kona? Who knows where she went? Could you please stop asking the other puppets? I'm your connecting puppet. Mia tugged at the red string on her spine, and Imofeng felt the pull as well. Imofeng said nothing. Seeing he wasn't understanding, Mia jumped onto his neck, cradling his head and sitting down. Big guy, hurry up. Imofeng walked slowly. Mia, hurry up. The more urgent the voice, the more someone was coming. Imofeng deliberately walked slowly, but within a few steps, his steps took over. From above, Mia's mocking voice rang. If you don't want me to control your body, just follow my orders. Imofeng clenched his fists, but when he remembered that this was a puppet carved by Wula bit by bit with a carving knife, he loosened his grip. Imofeng was still walking slowly, so he encountered humans. Not Pei Lin, but a few unfamiliar players. One player was holding a few-year-old NPC child, delicate and adorable. They were heading towards the end when they saw a tall man approaching with a puppet around his neck. He's got a puppet on him. He's a traitor, run. The player holding the child immediately took off. Other players rushed over to attack Imofeng, slowing him down. It was clear these people were a small group, previously keeping a low profile and avoiding attention. Imofeng didn't confront them head-on, simply running away when attacked. He ran so fast with the puppet that the others didn't react. Why is he running? Why does he seem afraid of us? What's going on? Why is he running? The puppet isn't attacking us, it's running too. While they were still wondering, they didn't notice anyone approaching. Pei Lin heard them discussing someone running away, a puppet, and asked, Did you just run into a 1.9-meter tall man with a buzz cut, carrying a puppet? The others, seeing Pei Lin was a player and a big shot, immediately offered information. Yes. Which direction did he run in? The road behind that house. Thanks. Pei Lin turned and gave chase. The others were puzzled, and someone suggested, Why chase that man and the puppet? Why don't we follow him? Just then, someone clever in the group finally said, Could it be that the thief you're looking for is that man, the puppet stolen in the story, the one who was stolen right in front of us? That makes sense. Hurry and follow. Otherwise, that big shot will disappear too. Imofeng walked deliberately slowly, Mia controlling his body. The two spirits tugged at each other, his body speeding up and slowing down. If you go against me again, I will kill you. It doesn't matter if my mother scolds me, Mia threatened. Chapter 273. Just after the threat, Mia felt a perfect sense of control. Mia laughed. So you're afraid of death? Imofeng laughed too, because it didn't matter anymore. Pei Lin had already caught up. A scimitar suddenly slashed down, and Imofeng quickly crouched down, but the angle was so subtle that half of the puppet's head was exposed. The puppet was incredibly fast, grabbing Imofeng's ear and ducking directly into his chest, unharmed. Imofeng stood up on his hands and turned to look at Pei Lin. A gust of cold wind blew, and the scimitar swung, transformed into a long scythe, and the moment Imofeng turned, it struck his neck. If Imofeng dared to move, his neck would be cut, just like Pei Lin's neck was now. Mia, holding Imofeng's clothes against his chest, grinned broadly. Oh, what bad luck. You've been caught, and I've been found too. Congratulations to this brave warrior. Pei Lin swung out the rope. Tie yourself up. Imofeng took the rope and tied his hands, saying calmly, I knew you could guess. Pei Lin felt something was amiss. Isn't it too easy? I found you, and the puppet so easily. Could it be that the difficulty lies not with you and the puppet, but with the mayor? Imofeng also realized. Where's Su Qinyang? Pei Lin. I told him to go find the mayor. Hurry and find him. Imofeng was also worried about Su Qinyang's situation. With his hands tied, Imofeng followed Pei Lin. The puppet sat on his wrist, not running away, but still giggling. After walking a distance, Pei Lin suddenly stopped. What's its name? Imofeng, Mia. Imofeng's expression changed. He and Pei Lin exchanged glances, their eyes filled with understanding. My name sounds nice, doesn't it? Don't go find the mayor, just take me back to my mother, Mia said. Imofeng's face sullenly sneered. I stole Kona, not you. Pei Lin replied calmly. The puppet we're looking for is Kona. No wonder the puppets changed shifts mid-sentence. No wonder the puppet to be stolen was Kona, yet the thief wasn't Su Qinyang, the connector, but Imofeng. I almost got tricked. Exposed by the two, Mia's expression instantly changed. She grabbed the rope around Imofeng's hand and ran, pulling him away. Pei Lin quickly gave chase. Mia untied the ropes from Imofeng's hands, reseated herself on his shoulders, controlled his body, swung around, and punched him. Pei Lin kicked the fist away and slashed at the puppet on Mo Feng's neck with his scimitar. Mia immediately turned around, holding Mo Feng's head, revealing his white neck. Pei Lin quickly stopped his knife, avoiding striking Mo Feng. Pei Lin. Go find Su Qianyang. He's connected to Kona, and he can sense where she is. Mo Feng couldn't control his body, but he could still speak. Upon hearing this, Pei Lin quickly sheathed his knife and fled. Mia lunged forward. Don't leave. Pei Lin dropped his props and fled. Mia fumed. I hate humans the most. Stinky humans. Mo Feng, The town was in chaos. The second-floor hotel room was filled with warmth. Dada lay naked on the bed, the remaining velvet blanket thick and soft, apparently warm. Several lamps were lit in the room, casting a cozy glow. The grids on the wooden shelf in the distance were all empty. Before, there was a puppet in each grid, but now they were all out. Dada's eyes slowly shifted, scanning the room. It was wonderful to be alone here, just them. Wu Lu, wearing a black house dress, was carving a spine, its edges adorned with threads and mechanical shafts. Dada lay sprawled on the bed, her skin translucent and fair, her back thin and muscular, her waist sunken, her hips lifted, her legs long and straight. Her body was beautiful, but the only flaw was the concave spine in her back. When I made you, I looked forward to your awakening every day, Wu Lu murmured. Dada, resting her head on her arm, tilted her head to look at her. Oh! Is it because you made me so beautiful, and you love beautiful boys, that you're so eager for my awakening? Of course. Suddenly, the room fell silent. Wu Lu noticed. Dada, are you upset? Did I say something wrong? Dada's glassy eyes smiled, and she asked dangerously, if the puppet you made woke up, and it wasn't me, but some other creature, would you still like it? Of course I would. I made it so beautiful. It's my most satisfying doll, my favorite doll. As long as it wakes up, I love it. Dada's smile deepened, but a hint of bitterness lingered in her eyes. Lulu, do you remember us in the past? I do. You told me you were the squad leader, Tada. The clown. Wu Lu lowered her head, concentrating on carving the spine, her words halting. Dada had recalled all his past memories, so he came to her and told her everything. Wu Lu wasn't too surprised, just happy to have found a kindred spirit. She wasn't the only NPC who could remember the memories of each dungeon after waking up. Now he was there too. Wu Lu didn't notice that Dada was in a bad mood. Dada's eyes stared at her like a snake, as if he were lost in thought, dangerous thoughts flickering through his mind. Suddenly, Wu Lu looked up and asked, I have my own name. Do you have one? Then she realized she hadn't asked him his name. Dada couldn't hold back his gaze, still gazing darkly at her, his lips curled. My name is Taswei. Do you remember me? Chapter 274. Taswei, Taswei. Wu Lu muttered the name. Taswei's expression grew increasingly tense, her eyes filled with anticipation. What did you remember? Your name is nice and easy to pronounce, Wu Lu commented. The expectation in the pretty boy's eyes faded. He buried his head in his arms, nuzzling the soft quilt beneath him. He took a deep breath, his mouth, nose, and even his lungs filled with her fragrance. We knew each other before. I've forgotten a lot, and you've forgotten a lot too. But it's okay, as long as we're together. These were words from the heart, and Taswei was content with the moment. Lulu, come over to the bed and do it. I want to hold you. Taswei's voice softened, or more accurately, he was acting coquettishly. With such a good-looking face and such a pleasant voice, once he capitalized on these advantages, no one could resist. Not to mention that Wu Lu was a hopeless face-obsessed person. As soon as she finished speaking, she came over, clutching Baba, who was on the table. Dada lay down a bit, making a small space for her to put her things. He was naked to begin with, and he moved without restraint, though that might have been intentional. His crotch was barely visible, even pressed against his legs, and he even used his hand to push it back. Wu Lu saw it, she'd seen it before, but she couldn't help but stare. Taswei noticed her gaze. Does it look good? You made it? It's pink and tender. Taswei lowered her head and admired herself. It's quite big. Wu Lu wasn't shy. She sat on the edge of the bed, arranged the silk thread, and began threading it through the holes in the spine, pressing the small mechanical shafts in one by one. Taswei lazily lay on her side on the bed, slowly wrapping her arms around Wu Li's waist and asking, How long will it take? When can I stand up? It can be done before midnight. Once installed, you'll be able to walk upright again. Wu Lu was also surprised. Logically, you're an unfinished puppet, only able to slide and crawl. How could you stand up and walk to my door? The dungeon settings prohibit you from doing that. It's Dada who can't stand up. I'm Tassaway. Tassaway nuzzled against her skirt at the waist, inhaling and rubbing it, whispering, It's Mary who lost the puppet. You're Lele different. But I'm also Mary. There are many Marys. This dungeon has been opened countless times. You're just one of them. Where are the other Marys? They've probably become NPCs in other dungeons. Tassaway touched her back, sometimes hugging her waist, sometimes pulling her close, his nose nuzzling her belly. Tassaway, do you think I'm a cat? This is how humans pet cats. At the word cat, Tassaway's eyes flashed with disgust. Lele, ignore that black cat. I haven't seen Xiao Hei since you came to my room, Wula said, puzzled. Before, Xiao Hei would pop in through the window every now and then to drink my tea, but now he seems to have disappeared. Because I killed him, Tassaway said softly. Wula paused, looking down at him. Wei, do you know what Xiao Hei is? Wei, Tassaway's eyes were hazy, and he kissed her belly. I like you calling me that. I used a tool to test its identity. Guess what it is? Wu Li's eyes lit up. He was clearly a demon, yet he acted like a child. Tassaway, a supervisor. It was a bit boring to be guessed so quickly. Wu Li's expression fell, then he became a little more serious. How do you know so much? That's all I know. Wu Li carefully examined him, confirming he wasn't lying. She breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed Tassaway knew just as much as she did. It was a draw, she hadn't lost. Tassaway, have you ever thought about playing in a dungeon? You know the human paradise town? And what they call the 21st century? The real world? Tassaway could see in Wu Li's eyes her longing and anticipation for those worlds. To be more precise, she longed for freedom. Dungeons had identity card restrictions and plot constraints. One dungeon after another was like a cage after another. Tassaway didn't have any thoughts about it. His only thought was her. How could he possess her? How could he not be separated from her? How could he make her never forget him? How could he make her only look at him forever? She understood nothing. Tassaway hugged Wu Li's waist tightly and said, My dear Lulu, you can do whatever you want. I stick with you. Wu Li felt different having someone by her side. While still working on the spine, she couldn't help but stare at the handsome boy pressed against her. She praised him heartily. Daddy, Tassaway, you're so beautiful. So pretty. Tassaway's red lips parted slightly, the tip of her tongue faintly visible. Lulu, do you want to kiss me? Chapter 275. Tavis deliberately used his beauty to seduce Wu Li. He was already suited to her aesthetic, so how could she resist going on like this? If she said she understood, she did. If she said she didn't, it seemed she didn't either. Tavis was testing him little by little, trying to gain advantages for himself. Every kiss would satisfy him. Wu Li was about to bend down to kiss him, but suddenly stopped in Tavis's eager and expectant gaze. She asked, Tavis, are we in love? She knew it was what lovers did. Tavis had always treated her this way, but they were not lovers. Tavis guided her, of course, we are lovers. We always have been. Really? Wu Li was a little skeptical. Tavis raised his hand, gently caressing Wu Li's cheek with his fingers. He asked, a little aggrieved, don't you like me? Am I not your type? Mom, don't you love me? His voice grew hoarser and endearing. Wu Li could clearly sense Taz's strength, but she had never seen his edge. Every time she turned to look at him, every time her eyes landed on him, he was the image of a beautiful, alluring young man. Wu Li knew he was hiding another side of himself. Taz's expressions were all the ones she liked. Thinking carefully, there were traces of him in all those people from the past. In his previous dungeons, Taz's personality had changed significantly due to his identity card, but certain details, such as his expressions and behavior, remained the same. He always acted in a way she liked in front of her. To put it bluntly, no matter which dungeon Taz was in, he was always seducing her. Now, he was even more reckless in his seduction, using every trick in his power. You call me Mom, is it because of the Data ID badge, or do you want to? Mom, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Pretending. He knew he was pretending, but he acted so well, looking easy to bully and easy to kiss. Wu Li didn't need to dwell on such complicated matters. She just needed to know that this strange thing wasn't dangerous to her, and that it was the look she liked. That was all. It's time for me to fall in love, to experience it. Wu Li thought longingly, and suddenly, a pair of cold, thin lips covered her mouth. Her shoulders were pressed down, and her body slumped limply onto the bed. Taz climbed on top of her, his long legs straddling her waist and abdomen, pressing directly against her. Taz was much taller than Wulu, and there was a size difference between them. With this covering, Wulu couldn't be seen from another angle. All she could see was Taz sprawled naked on the soft bed. Only a closer look could reveal the person being pinned down. When you're in love, you have to do what love is supposed to do. Taz's tone was light, but his eyes were filled with suppressed desire. He was a hungry snake, his body cold and his skin smooth. His arms tightened around her, pressing against her, pressing inwards, wishing he could bury himself inside her forever, never parting. It wasn't that Wulu didn't understand, but understanding and knowing were two different things. She couldn't, so she quietly let him do it, watching with curiosity, taking in the momentary experience. It was insane. Wei, if you keep going like this, your spine won't be in good shape by dawn. Then keep working and leave me alone. Wulu was frustrated and kicked all the tools, thread, and went onto the bed. Taz smiled triumphantly. It doesn't matter. As long as I haven't finished this dungeon won't close, and we can continue our relationship. Oh, and by the way, I don't mean just this dungeon, where it ends. I mean we should continue our relationship here, and then we definitely meet in the next dungeon, and we can continue our relationship in the next dungeon, and the next one. With every word, he bit Wulu and hugged her tightly. Pain, for Wei Yi, was comfort. Wuli's head was spinning. She said, we still have to go to Paradise Town, to the real world. Yes, we go to Paradise Town to date, and get married in the real world. Wulu ignored him. She imitated Taz's movements and hugged and bit him. Hiss. Taz was truly a master at seducing. Su Chenyang and a group of puppets surrounded the mayor. Fortunately, he had the puppets with him. The mayor had transformed, becoming a 3-meter-tall, swollen giant with immense strength. The puppets sprawled over the mayor's limbs, crushing him to the ground. Su Chenyang, dagger raised, stepped forward and stabbed him in the stomach, drawing the blood. He then beat him back to his former self. After the struggle, darkness had already fallen, and it was already 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Su Chenyang, sweating profusely, had spent the entire afternoon searching for the mayor. The fight ended in an hour, a smooth one. Su Chenyang held the knife to the mayor's neck and demanded, Dada was your stolen child, and you abused him, right? The mayor's mouth was covered in blood, and his voice was hoarse. I didn't steal him. There was no one there. I brought him home, because he was so cute. I raised him with good food and water, and even sent him to school. But then, he suddenly became paralyzed, living on his own, and bringing me shame. I regret bringing him home. Upon hearing this, Su Chenyang punched him in the face. The mayor yelled, Dada is a monster. After he became paralyzed, he started eating people. He crawls out at night to eat people. All those people in town who had their spines gouged out were killed by him. I saw it with my own eyes. He's a monster. Humph, you're a monster yourself, Su Chenyang complained. The noise of the fight was quite loud. Some players were drawn in, but seeing the puppets, they didn't dare approach. They didn't run, hiding in the shadows, which was already a sign of their courage. To think they overheard these secrets while hiding in the shadows. So, the beautiful child they've been looking for was a mistake. The real thief is the mayor, and that demonic Dada is a puppet. Zhang Xiaong ran out. Where's Dada? Let's find him quickly. Once we find him, we can exit the dungeon. Su Chenyang was startled by the sudden voice, and turned to see Zhang Xiaoyang and Chen Yu approaching. There were actually 2 more people hiding, and Su Chenyang silently condemned himself for being careless. Su Chenyang stood up. Are you not afraid of me now? Su Chenyang learned from the puppet that other players called him a traitor, saying he had been assimilated into an NPC. Chen Yu forced a smile. It was all a misunderstanding before. Now you're catching the mayor who stole the puppet, and you're working hard to complete the dungeon. You're a player. Zhang Xiaoang couldn't bring himself to smile, but said stubbornly, Don't forget you're human. We're the same kind. Heh. Su Chenyang sneered. The same kind? Have you ever seen a human being eat people? Have you ever seen a human being who says they're friends one moment and deliberately pushes you towards an NPC the next? In dungeons, without legal constraints, the evil of human nature is completely unleashed. Su Chenyang frequently dungeons, witnessing time and again that he was no longer the rookie he once was. Su Chenyang even suspected he was one of those beasts, especially after the murder in the dark room on the 2nd floor of the hotel. He fell into doubt. Finally, he realized that he was being controlled by Kona, turning him into a bloodthirsty and murderous person. But there will undoubtedly be more such situations in the future. In moments of emergency, no one knows what they will do. But Su Chenyang knew that no matter what he became, He would never resort to moral coercion or abuse others. He would never become a beast. Don't use the term your kind to hold me back. No matter who you are not one of my kind. Chapter 276. Su Qianyang's eyes were too cold, a knife still in his hand, a pool of blood at his feet. The scars on his face were blurred by the dusk, but the lines of his nose and jaw revealed his handsomeness before the injury. The puppets beside him wore eerie smiles, staring at the two of them. Zhang Xiaoyang and Qin Yu gradually broke out in a cold sweat, suddenly realizing that these puppets. Zhang Xiaoyang shouted, "They all listen to you, right? Go take care of them. Why are they staring at us?" Only when they saw Su Qianyang capture the mayor did they confirm his identity as a player. But they completely overlooked why the puppets would listen to him. Wouldn't these puppets kill players? Su Qianyang sheathed the bloody knife and said calmly, "Run? I give you 10 minutes to escape." Hee. 10 minutes is a long time. Brother, you didn't discuss this with us. We didn't agree. 10 minutes is fine, but only 10 minutes. We won't take even a second longer. So hungry, so thirsty. The puppets giggled, some licking their teeth, others making faces. Zhang Xiaoyang and Qin Yu's minds went blank. Qin Yu was still quick to react, pulling Zhang Xiaoyang along. "Let's run. His position isn't clear at all. Run." Zhang Xiaoyang refused to believe it, and continued to ask, "Why? Why are they listening to you? Why are you killing us? We're all human." Qin Yu was frightened and unable to pull Zhang Xiaoyang, so he ran off on his own. How foolish. Su Qianyang looked at him with disdain. "How many copies have you completed?" "Number." "The second one." Zhang Xiaoyang retreated in fear as several puppets approached him. "Don't kill me. I can do anything for you. I listen to you, really. You're unlucky to be assigned to this kind of dungeon in your second instance." However, Su Qianyang thought about his first dungeon, and it didn't seem like much. "They don't really listen to me. If you don't run now, it'd be too late. I won't kill you. I don't need to, but they will, because humans are their prey." Su Qianyang was kind enough, saying so much. If Zhang Xiaoyang didn't react and run, he'd die right here. However, even if he did run, he wouldn't be able to escape in 10 minutes. Zhang Xiaoyang reacted and turned and ran. After running a few dozen meters, he heard small footsteps behind him, clattering, and soon they were behind him. Zhang Xiaoyang turned back in fear. Ah! A terrifying puppet face suddenly approached, lying directly on top of him, hugging his face. Zhang Xiaoyang collapsed on his back, the puppet clutching his face and biting it. He screamed, "Ah! Ah! It's not even 10 minutes yet. Why are you chasing me? Go away! Help! Help me! Don't kill me! Please!" Soon, several puppets surrounded him. Some, displeased with the dirt, stayed away. "Hurry up and clean up these filthy humans. I want to go back and shower, then sit clean in the window. Mom will definitely touch my face." Su Qianyang whispered, "I told you, they don't really listen." He couldn't stop them. Zhang Xiaoyang died, and the stained puppets simply went after the female player. Su Qianyang looked at the clean babies sitting on him and said, "You guys go too." "No, it's dirty." "Then you can go back to Miss Mary. I don't need any help here. The mayor was already half dead, just drag him back." The puppets pondered for a moment, then one by one left. Once they were all gone, Su Qianyang breathed a sigh of relief. Su Qianyang glanced at the skeleton in the distance and dragged the mayor away. They hadn't gone far when they ran into Pei Lin. Seeing that Su Qianyang was unharmed and had captured the mayor, Pei Lin felt instantly relieved. "Why did you come back empty-handed? Didn't you find Mo Feng?" Su Qianyang had completed his mission, but seeing Pei Lin empty-handed, he was immediately furious. "Pei Lin, Mo Feng will go to the hotel by himself. Data must already be there. We can just take the mayor and the puppet with us." Su Qianyang understood. "You didn't catch Kona?" "Pei Lin, I almost got tricked. Mia is with Mo Feng now. Kona is missing." Hearing this, Su Qianyang remained calm. He turned around. "Feel my back. There's a red thread. The other end is connected to Kona." Pei Lin walked over and pulled open the back of Su Qianyang's collar. "Nothing." "No." Su Qianyang felt behind him. "Impossible. I've always felt it." He touched it again, and it was gone. "I knew it wouldn't be that easy." The puppet was only about calf height. It was already dark, and the town was so big that it was hard to find. Pei Lin and Su Qianyang took turns dragging the mayor around, searching the town. "There's no clue at all. It's pure hide and seek," Su Qianyang said with a bitter face. Pei Lin said nothing. The sky grew darker, and the two encountered other puppets along the way, and Pei Lin was attacked. Su Qianyang stood aside, and the puppets all jumped over him and attacked Pei Lin. This situation was becoming too much for Pei Lin. After escaping another wave of attacks, the two hid in an alley, panting. My connection with the puppets is broken, so why aren't they attacking me? Su Qianyang was puzzled. Pei Lin, Lula favors you too much. He gritted his teeth. Su Qianyang was unconvinced. You still don't understand her, Pei Lin. Stab me in the back with a knife and cut open the skin. If the connection was broken, he wasn't an NPC, and he would definitely be attacked. Besides, he was friendly to the puppets and even helped him with things, so the connection must have been broken. Su Qianyang turned and ripped open his clothes. Quick, take a look. It's definitely attached to the bone. Pei Lin's expression shifted slightly, and he frowned sternly, asking, Are you sure? It's going to hurt. Once my stomach was completely ruptured, my intestines spilled out, and I even had the skin peeled off my back. A cut on my back now is nothing. Su Qianyang feigned composure, but in reality, he was already sweating. All right. Pei Lin, a man of few words, struck with his sword swiftly, slicing through flesh and down to the bone. Hiss. Chapter 277. It hurt so much. Su Qianyang felt like Pei Lin was taking revenge on him. But the truth was, Pei Lin's cut was swift and precise, minimizing Su Qianyang's pain. Blood flowed quickly, leaving Su Qianyang's clothes on his back soaked red. With one stroke, Pei Lin saw a glowing red thread on the bone behind his neck. He yanked it and pulled it free. Ah! Su Qianyang screamed in pain. The red thread floated in the air, then swayed, finally drifting in one direction and stopping. Pei Lin, I know it's going in that direction. Su Qianyang's face paled. I knew it. Lei loves playing this kind of self-torture game. You have to be ruthless to yourself to win. Su Qianyang was so determined and resolute that Pei Lin realized the gap between them. He had indeed lost an understanding Lei. Seeing he couldn't walk far in such a state, Pei Lin took out some medicine and said, I apply it to you. Su Qianyang was in great pain, so he deliberately teased to distract him. Third brother will pay tribute to second brother. Ah! Be gentle. The medicine was poured onto the wound, causing him to cry out in pain, but after a few minutes, the wound healed at a visible speed, returning to normal. If it weren't for the still damp, warm blood on his back, he would have thought he had never been injured. Su Qianyang leaned his face forward. Please put some on my face too. You had such good medicine. Why didn't you bring it out sooner? My face has been rotten for days. It's so ugly. Lei was so disgusted by my face that he vomited. I was so embarrassed. Pei Lin threw the medicine bottle at him. Spray it on yourself. You owe me 100 points. So expensive. Su Qianyang was reluctant to wipe his smeared face. As long as he didn't make a big expression, it wouldn't hurt. He could just return to Paradise Town and be fine. This expensive medicine had to be saved, just in case it came in handy. Su Qianyang quietly put it into his personal item storage and decided he wouldn't pay it back. It was only natural for the second brother to use the third brother's things. Su Qianyang kept pulling at the red string on his back, afraid it would retract. The tip of the string fluttered constantly, then slowly pointed in a certain direction. The two of them headed in that direction. Twisting and turning, the night grew darker. Kona's quite the runner, running all over town, Su Qianyang complained. Pei Lin commented, she moves very fast. Dragging the unconscious mayor after her was too difficult. Pei Lin used items to hide the mayor, trapping him in a house. He planned to capture Kona, and then come back to retrieve him. Hoping to exit the dungeon as soon as possible, the two of them broke into a run, constantly moving through the streets and alleys. They could only tell which direction Kona was heading, not the distance. They chased her, but they could never catch up. Su Qianyang's strength gradually drained away, and he gasped with exhaustion. I'm running myself to death. This is too hard to catch. Pei Lin panted slightly. You need to work out when you get back. You're too weak. Su Qianyang thought he was okay. He had a fitness routine. While he might not have a lean physique and 8-pack abs, he at least had some muscle, far superior to some fragile college students. But in the dungeon, especially next to Pei Lin, Su Qianyang felt weak. When I get back to Paradise Town, I work out, boxing and martial arts. Su Qianyang looked forward to becoming even stronger. Let's get out of this dungeon first. Pei Lin grabbed Su Qianyang's collar and said, keep chasing. Su Qianyang insisted with a bitter face. An hour later, Su Qianyang sat down exhausted on the ground. Pei Lin said disdainfully, if the red thread wasn't on you, and I had to take you, a piece of shit, with me, I would have caught up long ago. Su Qianyang knew he was lagging behind, and listening to the other man's nagging, he was speechless. A few hours later, finally, the puppet's shadow appeared. It's like running a marathon. Su Qianyang was exhausted. Kina, stop running. We've seen you. Don't you want to see your mother? We take you to her, okay? Ahem. He got a stitch in the side. Pei Lin saw the puppet and immediately abandoned Su Qianyang, chasing it with the crescent moon in hand. Pei Lin predicted its path and turned, running into a dark alley, taking a shortcut to intercept it. Turning off the path, he saw Kona running towards him. Pei Lin, his expression gleeful, swung his sickle at her, interrupting her movement. Kona leaped, dodging the sickle's blade and leaping directly onto the handle, then attacked Pei Lin's hand. Pei Lin quickly released his grip, raising both hands high. Crescent moon descended, and he kicked it, sending the sickle's blade slicing through the hem of Kona's skirt. Kona leaped to the ground, staring angrily at her tattered skirt. Is this the dress my mother made me? Pei Lin caught Crescent Moon and slashed at it with his sickle. Let my mother make you new clothes. Come on, come back with us. You're a scoundrel. I hate you. I hate you the most. Kona attacked furiously, her speed exceeding. Pei Lin transformed Crescent Moon into a short blade. Initially, he was able to fend off Kona, but it eventually scratched his arm. With one swipe of its fingers, a strip of flesh vanished, and Pei Lin bled profusely. Pei Lin quickly used his wooden man prop and struck Kona's forehead, instantly turning her to stone and rendering her unable to move. Su Qianyang caught up and witnessed the scene, amazing. Controlling these monsters truly requires props. How could a mortal being defeat a monster? Thankfully, dungeon games have given humans the golden finger of props. Su Qianyang walked over, ready to pick up Kona. But as soon as he touched Kona, he felt a strange sensation in his body. This feeling. Su Qianyang quickly warned, Pei Lin, I'm being controlled. Kona can control me. He hoped Pei Lin would quickly restrain him. But it was too late. Su Qianyang watched himself raise his fist and strike Pei Lin. Pei Lin grasped and twisted it, with a crackling sound of bone, and Su Qianyang's arm fell. It wasn't broken, but dislocated. Ouch, that hurts. Su Qianyang grimaced, then saw his good arm strike Pei Lin again. He exclaimed, gentle. This time, Pei Lin didn't dislodge his arm. Instead, he retreated 10 meters, watching the scene unfold. Su Qianyang rushed forward, one arm raised, to attack him, but after 2 steps, his legs gave out, and he fell to his knees. Kina was incredulous. How can you be so weak? Su Qianyang was about to cry. I chased you for most of the night, running around town dozens of times. Even a cow would have collapsed from exhaustion. My legs are really sore. Kina thought that by controlling Su Qianyang, she would be able to witness the scene of 2 humans slaughtering each other, but she never expected that she would make a mistake there. Pei Lin skillfully reattached Su Qianyang's dislocated arm, then placed Kina in his arms, tied his arms with a rope, and led him away. Su Qianyang, is there a more respectable way? Pei Lin, no. Su Qianyang, when we get to the hotel, before we meet Lele, can you untie me? Pei Lin, it depends on my mood. Well, this night was a complete loss of face, and Su Qianyang was heartbroken. There were still 3 hours until dawn, and they should be able to finish the dungeon before dawn. They picked up the mayor, who was still unconscious, and Pei Lin carried him away. They arrived at the hotel and immediately saw Mo Feng, sitting in a chair, covered in blood. Mo Feng was covered in wounds, and a large piece of flesh had been shaved off his back. It looked like he wasn't going to have a good night either. Su Qianyang, have you untied Mia? It seemed Mo Feng had figured it out. The red thread was embedded in the bone marrow, and the only way to remove it was to dig out the skin and flesh and sever the root of the thread. Mo Feng nodded. Pei Lin, the 2 thieves and the stolen puppet are all here. Mo Feng, Dada's not here. Su Qianyang understood. Dada must be in Lele's room. Pei Lin, let's go upstairs and find him. Mo Feng stood up, his vision darkening. He swayed a bit, then sat back down in his chair. Su Qianyang couldn't bear to watch any longer and took out the medicine Pei Lin had given him. Although his arm was bound, he could still move it. He held the bottle and went over to him, apply some medicine. If anything happens later, you won't have the strength to escape like this. Mo Feng said, let's not waste the medicine. There shouldn't be any accidents. The mayor, Dada, me, and Kona are all here. Su Qianyang insisted on applying the medicine to Mo Feng. Fortunately, Mo Feng was sitting at the perfect height, otherwise, with his bound hands, he wouldn't be able to touch Mo Feng's back. After the powder was applied, the wound slowly healed. Su Qinyang then said, Pei Lin gave it to me. It would be a waste if I didn't use it. Mo Feng listened and looked at Pei Lin. Thank you. Pei Lin deliberately said, 100 points. Mo Feng, no money. Su Qinyang smiled. The group went upstairs and arrived at Miss Mary's door. Pei Lin knocked. Knock, knock. Chapter 278. Pei Lin knocked on the door several times, but there was no response. What's going on? Did we do something wrong? Su Qinyang glanced down at Kinna. Kinna, you're the cutest. Just give me a hint. Humph. Kinna closed her eyes with a sour face. Su Qinyang saw Pei Lin standing still and said, keep knocking. Pei Lin turned around, looking at him as if he were an idiot. Don't you think you know her best? Guess what's going on inside? It's just Lele and Dada together inside, Su Qinyang said confidently, his face full of innocence. Mo Feng, upon hearing this, instantly realized what was going on, a hint of shock in his eyes. Pei Lin simply walked away, his expression complicated. Su Qinyang was confused. Why did he leave? Did we really do something wrong? Mo Feng pulled up one end of the rope that bound Su Qinyang and dragged him away. Eh? Why are you dragging me downstairs? Stop being so quiet. It makes me look like I'm talking too much. Mo Feng, speak up. Su Qinyang chattered. Kunal was confused. Why didn't you knock? Come on, knock. Mom and Dada have been in there the whole time. How could he be alone with Mom for so long? Yeah, why? Su Qinyang was about to agree with Kunal, but suddenly his face changed, his expression froze. Then Man's expression grew increasingly intense, finally breaking down. Oh my god, no way. Mo Feng dragged Su Qinyang downstairs. From the first floor, the aroma of coffee wafted in. Pei Lin was leisurely brewing coffee using the landlady's kitchen utensils. Pei Lin stood by the stove, stirring the steaming liquid with a spoon. Mo Feng pulled Su Qinyang over to the table and sat him down, pressing his shoulders into the chair. He then adjusted Kona's arms and legs in his arms. Su Qinyang digested this for several minutes, finally looking up at the two men, who looked calm, one sipping coffee, the other in a daze. Are Lele and Dada in a relationship? Su Qinyang whispered. Mo Feng, probably. Pei Lin asked coldly, why are you so shocked? You've probably seen her in love several times. Su Qinyang, yes I have. Forget it, this topic isn't suitable for discussion. What else can he say? He said he's seen Lele in love, but he always thought it was just a simple relationship, the kind where they just chatted under the covers. In fact, it seemed players never realized that weirdos can have desires and emotions. Also, they were just speculating, without any concrete evidence. Talking too much would feel like spreading rumors. Since the door wouldn't open, they just wait. Mo Feng, are you hungry? Su Qinyang asked, licking his face. Mo Feng glanced at him, said nothing, and went into the kitchen. He searched for ingredients, but he opened a cabinet and immediately closed it. Pei Lin said, don't use that pot. It smells. Don't use anything else except the coffee cup, which is clean. Mo Feng knew Pei Lin had also seen the player's corpse in the cabinet. He rummaged through the drawers, and finally found some dry bread. He took it out and said, eat this, and stuffed a piece of bread into Su Qinyang's mouth. Su Qinyang bit it and mumbled, hold it for me. I can't eat it this way. Mo Feng, I see blood all over your back. You should have cut your flesh open. Why didn't you cut the red string as well? If we cut it, we won't be able to find this little thing. Even if they caught Kona now, they couldn't cut the red string. What if it ran away again? How would they find it? Su Qinyang would rather be tied up than run another marathon. Mo Feng ate his own bread with one hand, while feeding Su Qinyang with the other. He was truly loyal. Fourth brother is always the best. We're good brothers, Su Qinyang said gratefully. Pei Lin wasn't surprised to hear Mo Feng was the fourth brother. Su Qinyang couldn't stop talking. Do you think there will be a fifth or sixth brother in the future? Pei Lin, I don't know. Mo Feng remained silent. I'm increasingly looking forward to the future. I hope I can go home soon. Su Qinyang, having finished his meal and drunk his fill, slumped over the table and began to sleep. Mo Feng offered, I keep watch. You two can sleep. Pei Lin sat down at another table, leaning against the wall and closing his eyes to rest. Chapter 279. The night was quiet, as if the three of them were the only ones left in the town. Su Qinyang was tired and snoring. Pei Lin opened his eyes and gave him a look of disdain. Mo Feng, on night watch, didn't get sleepy. He kept an eye on Kona. The mayor's breathing was weak, his chest rising and falling only slightly. The sky was beginning to light up, and Su Qianyang was content to feel the light. Although he was actually very tired, he said, "Mo Feng, you get some sleep. I keep watch." "Okay." Mo Feng also slumped over the table and fell asleep. Su Qianyang woke up and found Pei Lin gone, feeling puzzled. On the second floor, Pei Lin opened the doors of each room one by one. A few were just ordinary hotel rooms, so Pei Lin glanced at them, but didn't enter. Only when he opened a puppet closet did he go in and check. He reached out and touched the little dresses. The fabric was fine, and they all showed signs of hand sewing. They must have been made by Wu Lu. Suddenly, a subtle noise reached his ears, and Pei Lin ducked. A puppet's hand passed through, and it leaped onto a shelf. "Don't touch my clothes." Pei Lin stood up, and suddenly realized there were several puppets hiding in the room. Their hair was a little messy, as if they had just woken up. Pei Lin stepped back, slowly left, and closed the door. Later, he found many more puppets in several rooms. There were even small puppets sleeping on the beds in some guest rooms. Clearly, this wasn't their room. Pei Lin remembered that Miss Mary's room had a whole wall of cabinets, divided into small compartments of varying sizes, each compartment housing a puppet. It seemed that none of the returning puppets had entered Miss Mary's room, but had spent the night elsewhere. Last night, only Mary and Dada were in the room at the end of the corridor. In the tool room, the puppet workshop, Pei Lin noticed there were no puppets here, so he could observe without worry. There were several unfinished puppets, their carved arms and heads realistically resembling real children. These puppets lacked eyeballs or hair, they were simple wooden prototypes, their backs hollowed out, without a skeleton to support them. There was a small wooden spine nearby. Pei Lin picked it up, pondered for a moment, and then drew a red thread from the side and threaded it through the gaps in the spine. He tried to connect them bit by bit, then pushed the mechanical shaft in and turned the spring. The entire spine straightened, and the red thread danced. Pei Lin unplugged the spring and attached the puppet head and limbs to the spine. The red thread connected each joint and tightened the thread. It was noon. Suddenly, there was a noise upstairs. Someone was coming down. Su Qianyang looked over immediately, only to see Pei Lin. Disappointed, "You've been upstairs all morning? What were you doing?" Pei Lin didn't hide it. "I checked the other rooms." "How many rooms can you spend all morning checking?" Su Qianyang asked skeptically. Mo Feng had also woken up and looked up, asking, "Should I knock on the door?" "No. No." Two voices rang out simultaneously. Pei Lin and Su Qianyang agreed that they couldn't knock on the door. They could only wait here, waiting for Lei to appear. Mo Feng thought about it and agreed, saying, "Hopefully we can get out of the dungeon before dark." "Don't say anything. You have such a bad luck. The moment you say that, I feel like we won't be able to get out of the dungeon today," Su Qianyang complained. Mo Feng remained silent, unable to refute. The room at the end of the corridor was now completely silent. Under the red velvet quilt, Wu Lu lay asleep, her face resting on the pillow, a hint of soft flesh on her cheek. Her lips were slightly parted, and without a sound of breathing, she looked like a beautiful corpse. Ta sat in the soft quilt, his upper body bare. He gently combed her messy hair with a small comb, smoothing it out bit by bit, making sure he didn't press it down. The curtains were drawn tightly, leaving no light at all. Because of his uncanny night vision, Taz had been staring at her since he woke. After combing her hair, Taz stared at her in a daze. Then, his hands couldn't help but touch her, pinching and kneading her here and there. Taz examined one hand for a moment, then got out of bed, naked, to look for something. Finally, he found nail polish in the closet. It was bright red, and she was sure she would like it. Tavis held her hand, and gently applied nail polish. After finishing one, he blew on it to make sure it was dry before applying the next finger. After painting all 5 fingers, Tavis kissed the back of her hand with pleasure before letting it go. Wu Li's other hand was pinned to her stomach, where she lay prone. Tavis gently adjusted her sleeping position, and took that hand out to apply nail polish. Wu Li was sound asleep, not moving at all. Even her eyelashes didn't flutter when she stirred. "Lulu," Tavis called her name unconsciously, the 2 words coming out in a sticky, mushy voice. After painting his nails, Tavis put his tools back on the dressing table and lay back in bed, lost in thought. After an unknown amount of time, he suddenly got out of bed and went to where the dresses were hanging nearby. He flipped them over one by one, occasionally picking up a small piece of clothing and sniffing it. Like a pervert, he dizzied the young girl and then committed his crime in her bedroom. In the afternoon, Wulu slowly awoke. She wasn't breathing, and Taz hadn't noticed. Wulu opened her eyes to see a pale figure swaying in her closet, his face buried in his skirt. Taz. He trembled, hurriedly straightening his messed up skirt and putting it back, then turned back with a seductive smile. Lulu, you're finally awake. I was so bored while you were asleep. Taz had barely slept, his energy surging, and he searched the entire house. Bored? I see you're having a blast. Lulu also noticed the vibrant color of her nails. Are you treating me like a doll? Are you going downstairs to meet those 3 idiots? I dress you up and pick out clothes for you, okay? Taz said, excitedly. Lulu was lazy, but she loved beauty, and his words played right into her hands. Taz chose a beautiful red Rococo Palace dress for her, along with black stilettos, and had her hair braided and makeup applied. It was already evening by the end of this whole process. Taz had made Lulu look stunning. Lulu noticed she was only wearing one ruby earring. Looking at Taz in the mirror, she saw the other earring on his ear. These are couple earrings, Taz explained. Some couples wear the same clothes and accessories, making it instantly clear they're a couple. Lulu, do you want the 3 of them to know we're a couple? Don't you? Taz asked, a little aggrieved. Yes, there's no need to hide it from them. We can do whatever we want. She has a very low sense of shame, so Lulu has no desire to hide her intimacy, nor does she feel ashamed of it. That's right. Lulu looked at Tawizi and said, Wei, you can go naked in your room, but you still have to wear clothes when you go out. That's right, Tawizi was naked when he dressed her. Even if they have no sense of shame, they can't be too shameless. Seeing strangers wearing clothes is a courtesy. Chapter 280. Footsteps sounded upstairs, soft 2 steps. Kona immediately sensed her master's presence, her eyes wide open, anticipating the stairwell. Pei Lin also noticed Kona's expression. He stood up, watching the stairwell warily. 2 scraps of red clothing appeared, revealing a handsome man and a beautiful woman in matching outfits. Their looks were clearly not human, they were incredibly beautiful. Taz, holding Wu Li's hand, followed quietly beside them. The 2 of them stood at the corner of the stairs, watching them. Wu Lu immediately spotted the bound Su Qinyang and Kana. Untie them. Pei Lin threw the unconscious mayor forward. Lulu, what are you going to do with him? Mo Feng went to untie Su Qinyang. As soon as the ropes were loosened, Kana scrambled up and clattered up the stairs, crying, They're bullying me. I'm a girl, and they tied me up to a man all night without any regard for my feelings. Mom, I hate them. The 3 people below were speechless. Lulu bent down to touch Kana's hair, soothing her. You've worked hard. Go back and change into a dress, and let me comb your hair. Kana, unsatisfied, tilted her head sideways, clearly hoping for a kiss from her mother. A hand reached out and pushed her away, saying, Go back inside. Kana's expression immediately changed. She glared at Dada fiercely, and finally left unconvinced. In this scene, Dada looked like a wife disciplining a little girl. Su Qinyang stretched his bound hands. Lulu, we've completed the mission. Can we leave now? Why are you in such a hurry to finish the dungeon? Why don't you play with me for a few more days? Lulu feigned sadness. We're afraid you kill us. Su Qinyang flattered, didn't stay a few more days? Mo Feng wanted to leave, out of the dungeon. Lulu made a teasing sound and came down, skirt lifted. Tawizi followed. After Tawizi came down, he went straight to the kitchen. Lulu picked a clean chair and sat down. Who said your mission is complete? There's one thing left to do. I let you go after you finish the dungeon. What else? Su Qinyang was puzzled. Has the mayor not been dealt with yet? Pei Lin's eyes were fixed on Dada in the kitchen, where he was cooking and moving around. So he said, dig out the mayor's spine and give it to Dada? Lulu scoffed. His spine isn't worthy of Dada. Su Qinyang, so you're going to find Dada's spine? But can't he stand up and walk? Lulu glared. You ask me? I'm a spooky, scary NPC. Why should I tell you players the answer? Go if you want. Don't be so arrogant. Su Qinyang touched his nose and dared not speak. Soon, the aroma of chocolate filled the room. Dada was cooking chocolate. Lulu, now that you've caught the thief and found my lost puppet, the puppets won't attack you anymore. The battle royale is over. As for how to leave the dungeon, figure it out yourself. This clearly told them that there was no immediate threat to their lives. The only thing left was the final stage. On the first day, the 3 of them remained vigilant. They still took turns keeping watch at night, daring only to rest in the hotel's first-floor living room. During the day, they went out to explore and found the entire town deserted. Overnight, everything was deserted, covered in spiderwebs and dust, with no other NPCs. After searching around, they discovered they were the only 3 players left. A gust of wind blew, and an abandoned mailbox collapsed. The metal brittle, and the yellowed newspaper inside fell out. Pei Lin picked it up and examined it. Mary Town, renamed Mary Town after the artist Mary who lived there, was once a popular place, attracting countless visitors. But overnight, its residents died tragically, and those who escaped went mad, constantly claiming that some puppets were alive, that they were alive. The artist, Miss Mary, had also vanished. Mo Feng saw the time in the newspaper. Are we 10 years later? Pei Lin. Data wasn't fully crafted when the mayor stole it. He was missing a spine. But now Data can stand and walk, no longer crawling and attacking. Lei should have finished it for him. I can't think of what else is missing to complete the dungeon. Su Qianyang wasn't a brainy person, so he could only fret, unable to come up with a clue. The three of them returned to the hotel. It looked shabby from the outside, but inside, everything was spotless. The first floor was perpetually filled with the aroma of chocolate and black tea. The sound of washing cups could be heard in the kitchen. No one knew who was inside. Dada, are you feeling better? Pei Lin asked. Taz glanced at the three of them, shook the water from his hands at them, and ascended the stairs with a cheerful face. He didn't speak to them at all. Su Qianyang grumbled, he's so arrogant. He wasn't like this when I carried him back from the woods. Pei Lin pondered, do you think he's a little different? He has a similar temperament to Lei, Mo Feng commented. Su Qianyang thought carefully. When I first met him, I just thought he was a special NPC, but now I see him as a boss, and he feels like he's even beyond the plot of this dungeon. Yes, I feel the same way. Pei Lin boldly speculated. I don't believe Lei would fall in love with an ordinary weirdo. Data might also be a special NPC. He also remembers the previous dungeon, and we may even have seen him before. Su Qianyang was shocked by Pei Lin's speculation. Oh my god, did we really run into each other? Mo Feng, there's also a black cat. I saw it today. It kept circling the house, afraid to enter the hotel. I remember there were black cats in the previous dungeon. It's also a special creature. Speaking of the little black cat, Su Qianyang had a lot to say. He had been keeping it a secret before, but now, although he and these two still had a bit of a relationship, they were in the same group after all, so he decided to speak out. The scar on my face was scratched by the black cat. Wherever Lei is in a dungeon, this black cat is always there. But Lei and the black cat aren't on the same page. In fact, the black cat doesn't like anyone approaching Lei. When I saw the black cat, I knew Lei was in this dungeon, so I followed it. But it tricked me and nearly killed me. The most crucial thing is, it can control our item usage. Controlling item usage, Mo Feng instantly understood. I used the teleport item, the cat meowed, and I remained where I was. Su Qianyang, yes, I did the same. We only moved a centimeter. Pei Lin frowned. Human flesh and blood are already vastly outmatched in combat against these monsters. Items are the only thing that can bridge the gap. And now, what if a being appeared that could control their items? How could humans survive? Pei Lin asked Su Qianyang. It wanted to kill you, but Dada showed up and it ran away. Under normal circumstances, Su Qianyang would have been deadly against the little black cat. Su Qianyang nodded. Pei Lin made another bold guess. Dada is stronger than Black Cat. He's not a puppet Dada. Chapter 281. Pei Lin, he's stronger than Black Cat. He's not the puppet Dada. Su Qianyang, upon hearing this, immediately said, so we haven't found the real Dada, haven't found Miss Mary's real lost puppet, so we can't leave the dungeon? Pei Lin was suddenly speechless, then said, sorry, I wasn't clear enough. I meant he wasn't just the puppet Dada, he was many other people, just like Lei isn't just Mary, she's also many NPCs. Mo Feng, the point is, who was he before? Think about it, have you ever met him? Pei Lin had an idea. Suspect every NPC who's close to Lei. Su Qianyang added, especially good-looking NPCs, preferably handsome men. Instantly, several figures flashed through the minds of the three. Pei Lin suddenly had an idea. Whenever I encounter Lei's dungeon, there's always a beautiful male NPC like this. Let's make a hypothesis. If these people are all Dada, does that mean Lei, Dada, and the little black cat will always appear in the same dungeon? Pa! Su Qianyang's hand slipped and knocked over a cup on the table. The crisp sound of the cup brought the atmosphere to a climax. Mo Feng looked at Pei Lin with admiration. I support your hypothesis. Pei Lin, I play 10 dungeons, and I only encounter Lei once every 2 months on average. The chance of meeting is not high. I wonder how they're connected. If we can also connect with Lei, we can enter Layla's dungeon in the future. Entering her dungeon wouldn't be a good thing. But there are also some disadvantages. For example, they would get to know Layla better and better, and their dungeon experience would skyrocket under Layla's training. Perhaps they could even learn the ultimate secret of the terrifying game. If they were unlucky, they would die at Layla's hands. The three of them firmly believed that the solution to their terrifying adventure lay in Layla. Unnoticed, a thumb-sized puppet was watching them from the stairwell, and their voices were carried through the puppet to Miss Mary's room. Wu Lu, listening to the voices emanating from the pumpkin lantern, collapsed helplessly. Tawizi pinched her waist and asked, "Why are you upset? If they knew the boss couldn't leave, wouldn't they think I'm not strong enough? If they look down on you, we kill them. We can find our subordinates anywhere. We don't need the three of them. Right now, they think I'm powerful. I'm their hope." Wula pondered the thought, and suddenly found it intriguing. I want to be their hope, bring them infinitely close to hope, and then tell them there's no hope. Her eyes lit up. Fun, this is fun. She was lively and adorable, and Tawizi leaned over to kiss the back of her neck. Then I stay with you. Tata, you must stay with me. You can't leave me in any dungeon. Wei, Tata, Cici. She had many ways of calling him, and Tawizi liked them all. Tawizi, I once ate your heart, so I always follow you. When? Is my heart delicious? Is it sweet? Wula turned back curiously, her eyes casually glancing at Tawizi's chest. Sweet. Taz reached out and turned her over, letting her lie flat. He kissed her chest and whispered, "You've forgotten a lot of things. I also forgot some along the way. Now I remember more than you do. I can tell you one by one." Wula hadn't felt much love before, but every time she saw the beautiful Taz, she couldn't help but want to get close. She thought she was just obsessed with looks, but recently, she discovered that she too had a little crush on Taz. And having someone remember you forever was such a wonderful feeling. Wula hoped Taz wouldn't forget her again, and wouldn't leave. Let the two of them play together forever, love each other. Your heart tastes sweet. I dug it out with my own hands. I know you want to eat my heart now, but sorry, my heart isn't good right now. It's not tasty. Next time, I dig it out for you in the next dungeon, okay? Dada's heart was carved from wood, and wasn't tasty. Wula hoped it'd be even sweeter with chocolate drizzled on it. Okay. She was affectionate for a moment. Wulu also turned serious. Do you know Xiaohei's identity? He's the supervisor, primarily responsible for ensuring the dungeon plot doesn't undergo major changes, and controlling player item usage. But I have a feeling he's here to supervise me, and now, perhaps, the two of us. Tawizi knew this, but simply dismissed it. He's no match for us in any dungeon, and poses no threat to us. Wulu, fortunately, Xiaohei can't defeat us. We can crush him at any time. No one can threaten us, only these countless dungeons constrain us. Tawizi only cared about her, he could sense her desire to leave the dungeon. Lalu, we get out. Tawizi's eyes darkened. Wulu took a nap and woke to find Tawizi gone. A robe was missing from the clothes rack. Tawizi had dressed and gone out. Bored, Wulu went downstairs to play with her three younger brothers. As soon as she came down, the three of them became visibly wary. Wulu lazily walked down and ordered directly, "Make me a cup of hot chocolate." Su Chenyang was about to get up, but Pei Lin was quicker than him. Pei Lin went into the kitchen first, forcing Su Chenyang to sit back down. Wulu and Su Chenyang sat at the same table, while Mo Fong sat at the next table. The atmosphere was a bit odd. Wulu pondered for a moment, then suddenly reached for her skirt. She fumbled around, finally pulling out a doll and tossing it out. "Here you go." Mo Fong caught the doll, checked it, and found nothing wrong with it before putting it away. "Are you still afraid I break it? You're so distrustful," Wulu muttered. Su Chenyang laughed. "Our boss wouldn't break any props. You always return what you borrow. That confession you let me proves it. You're a man of your word." Wulu raised his chin. "That's my reputation." Su Chenyang applauded. "Right. Next time I ask you to borrow props, don't be so stingy and force me to snatch them. Just give them to me sooner rather than later," Wulu said confidently. Here. What's mine is yours." Mo Fong seemed to understand why Lele liked Su Chenyang so much more. Pei Lin brought out the hot chocolate and placed it in front of Wulu, holding a beautiful silver spoon to the edge. "It's a little hot. Drink it slowly." Wulu sniffed it. "Did you add black tea?" "Pei Lin, I heard you like it." Wulu dipped the spoon into the chocolate and suddenly asked, "What was your old place like?" Chapter 282. Wuli's question stunned all three. Pei Lin immediately realized she was curious about humans' past lives, more precisely, about the outside world. Pei Lin was the first to speak. I used to live in a small coastal city. My family lived in an old neighborhood. There were many winding alleys, and there was a breakfast shop at every corner where I could buy steamed buns and buns. When I had free time, I would go to the sea with my parents to collect snails. Su Chenyang and Mo Feng had never heard Pei Lin say this before, and now it seemed a little strange to them. Entering the horror game, they had all forgotten their past world. Wula recalled, the seaside? I've been to a seaside dungeon before. The breeze was salty, and the water was murky. The water where I live isn't very murky. It only gets murky when it's cloudy or rainy during typhoons. When the sun is shining, the water is a brilliant blue, like a sea of glass, so clear that you can see corals and clownfish on the seabed. Wula frowned, for she couldn't imagine what the Bully Sea looked like. There's no sun in the dungeon, Mo Feng reminded him. That's why the sea in the dungeon is always murky. I don't know if their perception was wrong, but Wula, despite his expressionless face, seemed angry. Su Chenyang quickly interrupted the conversation and enthusiastically introduced where he lived. My home is in a city with exceptionally good air. It's like spring all year round. Flowers grow in every window along the green belt. I love riding my bike in the mornings, smelling the flowers along the way. Later, when I left home for college for a few years, I moved to another city. Even with navigation, I got lost everywhere, and I wasn't used to the local food and lifestyle. Wula listened with rapt interest. Seeing her interest, Su Chenyang recounted many of his college experiences. Pei Lin also shared a number of anecdotes, which delighted Wula. And so the afternoon passed. Wula looked at the silent Mo Feng. Why don't you say anything? Mo Feng, I don't think there's anything to say. Wula was unhappy. Either you say it, or I curse you with your doomed doll. Mo Feng was helpless, reminiscing and even stuttering nervously. I've loved fighting since I was a kid. I was a troublemaker. I wasn't a good student, always sitting in the last row. Every other day, I get into fights and have my parents called in, but when I fought, it was always because they were mean, and I didn't want to lose. I couldn't win an argument, and I wasn't talkative, so I just hit them. When I became an adult, I enlisted in the military. At the martial arts competition, I won first place in fighting and first place in weighted cross-country running. I excelled in all areas, so I stayed. I suddenly entered a dungeon during a large military exercise. Su Chenyang was half surprised. I suspected you were a soldier because of your buzz cut, but I didn't expect you to be such a troublemaker, a fighting king since childhood. Wula had experienced many dungeons, but she didn't know much about some military matters. Curious, she asked Mo Feng many questions. Mo Feng was like a machine, answering every question without a word, a complete taciturnity. Pei Lin interjected, Lulu, do you want to visit our hometown? Wula, his chin resting on his hand, asked, do you want me to take you home? Yes, very much. We really want to go home. Lulu, boss, please help me. Su Chenyang cheekily pinched Wuli's sleeve. Acting like a spoiled brat? No help. Wula pulled back her sleeve and made a face at them. Let's get out of this dungeon first. Now you have to tell me stories about the outside world every day. If I enjoy it, I won't kill you. If I don't then? Wula stuck out her tongue and rolled her eyes. It was an ugly expression, but she made it look cute. Wula went upstairs. The three of them sat at the table, feeling a little awkward. When Wula was around, their attention was all on her, telling her everything. Now that Lulu was gone, they were left with three unreliable teammates. Having just had their private affairs known to them, they felt a little awkward. The most awkward was Mo Feng. Ahem, Lulu is interested in our business. That's a good thing. Before, we didn't have time to spend with her due to the dungeon progress. Now we can slow down and spend time with her. Maybe we can even develop some feelings. Living like this isn't bad. Su Chenyang was optimistic and very good at comforting himself. Mo Feng countered, will Lele develop feelings for us? Can strange people have feelings like friendship? If she truly loves Dada, then she does, Pei Lin said, looking at it from another perspective. There's no other way. Facing the powerful strange Lele, we can only hope to get her to develop some feelings for us. Su Chenyang howled, like a psychopath. Without a word, they dispersed. The three of them went their separate ways to find a way to complete the dungeon. They couldn't figure out what was missing. This town had become a deserted place 10 years later. What else had they missed? It was dark, and Pei Lin and Mo Feng were searching the town when they stumbled upon a clothing store with its light still on. Pei Lin, wielding a flashlight, pushed open the door and saw Taz, dressed in new clothes. At his feet lay a pile of previously tried-on clothes. Someone suddenly approached, and Taz became upset. "Get out!" Pei Lin retreated, motioning Mo Feng to follow. The two retreated about 10 meters, but didn't leave. Half an hour later, Taz emerged carrying a pile of new clothes, and saw the two men guarding them. "You're asking for your own death, huh?" Taz said disdainfully, but added, "Help me carry my things, and don't get your clothes dirty." Taz threw his belongings to them, treating them like slaves. Pei Lin followed, clutching the clothes, but he said, "You wear different clothes every day in front of Lele. Are you afraid she won't find you new? Do you think Lele doesn't love you?" Mo Feng was ready for battle. Chapter 283. Pei Lin's words really deserved a beating, and he didn't even bother to greet his teammates before launching his ultimate attack. Mo Feng regretted following Pei Lin out. He would have preferred to follow that idiot Su Qinyang. Tavis waved his hand. "Even if I kill you, Lele won't blame me. Do you think she loves me? She accurately finds you in every instance. I think besides being beautiful, she definitely loves you, and she's always with you in every instance." Pei Lin's words took a sudden turn. Mo Feng realized Pei Lin was trying to trick him. Towizi also knew he was trying to trick her, but he loved hearing it. He disliked Lele's minions, and wanted to kill them, but there was nothing he could do. Lele found them amusing, and he couldn't kill them just yet. Whenever Lele's attention was drawn to them, Towizi wanted to kill them. "Now," Towizi said proudly, "no one can be prettier than me. Lele will always love only me. She only sees you because you're amusing. Know your place. Lele is your boss, and you should call me brother-in-law. I grant you this honor." The night breeze blew, and Mo Feng felt a sense of disarray. Sometimes he didn't quite understand Dada's train of thought. Dada was emphasizing his relationship with Lele. "Brother-in-law, were you called Tada before?" Pei Lin called him brother-in-law calmly. This word sounded very casual, as if it was just a greeting. Tada was the boss of the nunnery dungeon, and Pei Lin had a deep impression of him. Towizi was too lazy to answer such a detailed question, or more accurately, too lazy to pay attention to the two of them. He looked at Mo Feng impatiently. "Mo Feng, brother-in-law." Satisfied, Taz left. Taz vanished in the blink of an eye. The two men left clutching a pile of gorgeous clothes. "It's a shame we didn't get his real name," Pei Lin said with a hint of regret. Mo Feng warned, "Be careful what you say. It's too risky. He's not killing us now because of Lele, but if we provoke him, he might actually kill us." Pei Lin remained calm and confident, saying, "He definitely won't kill us." Mo Feng, "What gives you such confidence?" "Because he loves Lele." Pei Lin led the way back, saying as he walked, "Before, we only suspected he was the boss, but now the real boss has admitted it himself. We have to face him later. We must find out his name and background as soon as possible." Pei Lin and Mo Feng returned to the hotel, and pushed open the door to find all the people on the first floor. Wula and Dada sat at a table by the window, drinking black tea, while Su Qinyang stood nearby like a servant. Seeing the two men return, Taz's eyes flickered, and he raised his chin and said, "You're back." He actually greeted them. What the hell? Su Qinyang was shocked. How could they be so familiar with Dada? Is it because they were holding those clothes? Pei Lin came forward, saying as he walked in, "Brother-in-law, did you send your clothes to the room upstairs?" Mo Feng also whispered, "Brother-in-law." He was embarrassed. Pei Lin was so shameless. Puff, cough, cough, cough. Su Qinyang choked on his own saliva. Wulu also coughed, choking on the tea she was holding in her mouth. Taz immediately reached out and gently patted her back, wiping her mouth and nose with a handkerchief. Wulu swallowed the black tea, bewildered. "What do they call you?" Towizi replied matter-of-factly, "You're their boss, their sister. Our relationship. I'm, of course, their brother-in-law." He liked the name very much and even looked at Su Qinyang. "Why don't you call me sister, brother-in-law?" Su Qinyang chimed in. Wu Li's expression fluttered for a second before finally accepting it, saying, "Tada, you're really good at currying favor for yourself, bypassing me and giving them orders. I didn't do anything else outrageous. I just told them to call me brother-in-law. You won't even allow that?" Towizi lowered his eyes, aggrieved as if reprimanded. Good tea. Although the three younger brothers had varying IQs, they all understood the green tea at that moment. Also, isn't his name Dada? Why did Lele call him Tada? Little Wei Wei, you look even better this way. Wu Lu loved Towizi's pretense, and even kissed him on the cheek in front of the three of them. The three younger brothers' pupils visibly widened in shock. It was just a kiss on the cheek, Not a particularly dramatic scene, but their heart still trembled. So this is what Laylay's love life is like. Dada was so casual, so obvious. Why did Laylay fall for it? Also, why was Dada calling him Little Weiwei again? How many names does he have? Pei Lin understood. Dada must have had different names in many instances before. Tada, Little Weiwei, and Laylay would call him by every one of them. Strangely, not shy at all, the two of them clung to each other in an intimate pose for a moment. Wulu seemed to have just remembered the three younger brothers and looked up, saying, "From now on, just call him brother-in-law. He likes it, and I think it's a good name too. We get married soon." Su Chenyang wondered, is there a civil affairs bureau in the dungeon? The one that lets weirdos get married? Wulu grinned, just go to whichever dungeon has a civil affairs bureau and get married there. It's simple. Besides, your world has a civil affairs bureau too. Tada, and I can get married there too. Sure enough. These two weirdos can leave the dungeon. They can go to the real world. Over the next few days, the three of them talked about their real-life experiences with even greater enthusiasm and vividness. Just to lure Wulu to the real world so they could follow along. Pei Lin, the brainy one, couldn't stay in the hotel telling stories for long. He had to search for clues. What was missing? Why couldn't the three of them leave the dungeon? Sometimes, Pei Lin even suspected that they had already completed the dungeon quest and couldn't leave simply because Laylay hadn't had enough fun and was deliberately keeping them. In short, Pei Lin went out every day. Su Chenyang basically stayed with Wulu, telling her interesting stories. The summer after my college entrance exam, my dad bought me a new mountain bike. My best friend and I went cycling in the plateau. At 3,000 meters, he started vomiting, having diarrhea, and a nosebleed due to severe altitude sickness, so we left the mountain. I cycled alone for a month and a half and got incredibly tanned. Before school started, I went on a trip to a Southeast Asian country with a group of friends. There was a temple that didn't allow tourists, only local believers. The others in the group could only look from outside, but I was the only one who went in. No staff member stopped me. Do you know why? Because I was as dark as the locals. I was completely tanned. Chapter 284. Wulu imagined Su Chenyang's tanned appearance and said disdainfully, "It's ugly. You looked ugly last time you were tanned too, but this time you're back in the whites. It's clearly cloudy in this dungeon, but wearing short sleeves during the day still makes you tan. I always wear 2 layers of clothing when I go out now, using my jacket as sunscreen." Su Chenyang leaned forward and said, "Although there aren't any skincare products, there's clean water. I apply it often. If there are any skincare products in the dungeon, I skimp on them. I was almost killed by a dungeon hostess because of this. Boss, do you think my face needs improvement?" Wulu took a closer look. "No matter how you improve it, it won't work. Your basic accessories aren't good enough." After all, he was once a school idol, and hearing this made Su Chenyang feel sore. Dada wasn't here, and Mo Feng and Pei Lin were both out. It was just the two of them here. Su Chenyang asked what had been puzzling him. "During that last Buddha amulet instance, you wanted to come on the plane with us. You wanted to go to Paradise Town, right? Don't deny it, because your intentions were obvious. But I didn't see you when we got to Paradise Town. Can't you get in?" Pei Lin firmly believed that the key to unlocking the instance lay with Wulu. Su Chenyang believed that too, but he still had his doubts. Mo Feng remained silent, but he certainly had some concerns. They pinned their hopes on Wulu because they only knew of this unique and strange being. After recounting the story for several days, and keeping Laylay amused, Su Chenyang finally mustered the courage to ask, "You can't go to Paradise Town, and you can't go to the human world either, right?" Wulu was upset. Her lies had been exposed. He was deliberately poking at her sore spots. But the boss had to hold his nerve. Wulu smiled mysteriously. "Kill you all and I be out." Su Chenyang suddenly felt a chill run down his spine, his mind racing. "Kill all the players and you be out? But there are always new players coming in. You can't kill them all, right?" Wulu counted on his fingers. "Kill you, Pei Lin, and Mo Feng, and Cici, and I will get out." Su Chenyang leaped to his feet and dodged 10 meters away. "Who's Cici? Dada?" "No, Boss Laylay, don't joke like that, I'm scared." Wulu beckoned him over. Su Chenyang shook his head and refused to come. Speechless, Wulu beckoned again, and Su Chenyang's hands and feet were instantly entangled in the red string, yanking him back. "Su Chenyang, as a younger brother, your first priority is to please the boss. Say less than you should," Wulu warned him. Su Chenyang seemed to understand, but he still placed his hopes on Laylay, because Laylay was stronger than them all. "Laylay, boss, let me continue telling you a story. Have you ever had hot pot? Su Qianyang adjusted his composure and continued into storytelling mode. But Wula wasn't happy to hear it. I miss Tata. I've been looking at ugly faces all day. I need to refresh my eyes by looking at a pretty girl. With that, he stood up and left. Su Qianyang pointed at his face, confused. Am I really that ugly? Su Qianyang's cosmetic surgery had made him anxious. The next day, Su Qianyang changed into a new set of clothes, focusing on his outfit and grooming. He also noticed that Pei Lin wore different clothes every day and even styled his hair and bangs, while Mo Feng's hairstyle and outfit remained the same for eternity. They stopped staying on the first floor and instead found a spare room on the second floor. At night, Pei Lin gathered the plastic squad. Every day, I check every room in the hotel. With the exception of Leilei's room, which is inaccessible, I know every change in each room. Now I can finally confirm one thing. Pei Lin paused deliberately, a bit of a bait and switch. Mo Feng remained silent, keeping his composure. Su Qianyang, impatient, took the bait. What did you find? I found signs of movement and use on the carving knives, wood, silk thread, and mechanical gears in the doll-making workshop. Is Leilei making a new doll? No new dolls, not even a new puppet arm. So what does this mean? Pei Lin, remember the scene from Leilei's stage performance? Her beloved puppet was stolen before it was finished. We know that the final step in a puppet's construction is installing the spine. This technology allows the puppet to stand up and move flexibly. Dada couldn't stand before, and when he attacked me, he was gliding on the ground. Now he's moving around. Pei Lin paused again. Mo Feng continued, he's got a spine installed, so he can stand and move freely. Pei Lin frowned and said, he's not the real Dada. He must have surpassed Dada. Thinking backwards, can he still stand without a spine? If he doesn't have a spine installed, then our mission is incomplete. Su Qianyang pondered, if you follow your line of thought, do we need to make a puppet spine and then attach it to Dada? First, we can't do that. Second, Dada definitely doesn't want us touching him. He definitely wants Leilei to do it. Mo Feng saw through it all. I suspect Leilei deliberately didn't install the spine, preventing the three of us from leaving. If we don't leave, the dungeon won't end, and Leilei and Dada can stay here leisurely forever. Su Qianyang gasped. Mo Feng remained silent, but when he spoke, he bombarded everyone with ideas. As expected, this taciturn person has a lot on his mind. Pei Lin nodded. Yes, I suspect so too. If Leilei is the cause, then we're really out of options. But before that, I can make a spine for Dada, just to give it a try. You can do it? Mo Feng was surprised. You can do it? Su Qianyang was equally surprised. Pei Lin remained calm. Is it difficult? Just go to her tool room and take a look around and try it out, and you get the hang of it. What a provocative expression. I leave it to you then. I'm going to bed. Mo Feng left. Su Qianyang followed. Pei Lin didn't sleep that night, and didn't emerge until noon the next day. He held a spinal column in his hands. Silk threads threaded through every crevice of the bones, and at its center was a tiny gear. All the threads connected to a small spring, which was the location of the coccyx. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng were impressed by him. He was a man of both intelligence and practicality. Are you going to knock on the door now? Mo Feng asked bluntly. Su Qianyang patted Mo Feng on the shoulder. Brother, let me teach you a lesson. Never knock on a couple's door until it's open. Remember that? Okay. The three of them didn't knock, but sat on small stools by the door. They finally had a clue and couldn't wait to try it out. Tavis, upon seeing them at the door, quickly saw the key point. He glanced at the spinal column with disdain. It's shoddy. Pei Lin deliberately said, my craftsmanship isn't as good as Leilei's, but you must be uncomfortable without the spinal column installed. So, did the other party actually have the spinal column installed? Chapter 285. Pei Lin's words sounded like a ruse to Taoizi. Without making a decision, Taoizi turned and looked back into the room. Wu Le, barefoot and wrapped in his cloak, shuffled out. Seeing the inferior spine in Pei Lin's hand, he knew they had guessed. This isn't a quest for you players. It's invalid, Wu Le said lazily, leaning against Taoizi. Pei Lin was the first to react. The players helped you retrieve Dada. You were supposed to fix Dada's spine and install it before we could get out, but you didn't do that? Wu Le raised his chin. The spine he was holding fell, and Pei Lin grabbed it with one hand. A helpless expression. Leilei, why did you keep us here? Is there anything else you need us to do? Wu Lu, I didn't keep you. Taoiz, I was keeping her here. She's done, and I don't want to install it. Su Qianyang shamelessly said, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Just let us out. He even called out sister-in-law, but it didn't seem wrong. Isn't the boss's partner sister-in-law? A man calls sister-in-law. Mo Feng and Pei Lin wanted to step back and pretend they didn't know Zhu Qinyang. Isn't it better to stay here? I'm not going to kill you right now, and you won't die if you stay here. In a sense, this is better than going back to Paradise Town. Wula couldn't understand why they wouldn't want to stay in such a perfect safe house. If they went back to Paradise Town, they'd be forced to enter dungeons every month, and staying in Paradise Town would also result in points being deducted. What Paradise Town? It's more like the beginning of hell. Staying here with her is the real paradise. Wula had a flash of inspiration. You can die of old age here, and I'd bury you. I won't let your life with me be in vain. I take care of you until the end. She didn't seem to be lying. Sometimes, I really don't understand strange brain circuits. Bang! The door slammed shut, and the three of them looked hopeless. Wu Li's thoughts raced. Just now, she actually imagined burying the three old men. Now, with the door closed, she looked at Taz. Did you catch it? Taz had actually gotten up early, and just returned. As soon as he entered the house, he smelled someone at the door, which led to the opening of the door. Taz turned and came out with a cage. Inside was a black cat. He shook it vigorously, and the black cat's fur stood up. Ha! He panted. Wula stuffed his finger into its mouth. The little black cat gagged, then realized what was in its mouth, and immediately grabbed it. Its voice was muffled and unpleasant. Lulu, if you need me, just call me and I come. No need to catch me. I'm going to Paradise Town. Wula withdrew her hand. Taz threw the cage to the ground, sending the little black cat reeling. Taz pulled a white handkerchief from his pocket and carefully wiped Wu Li's finger. It's dirty, don't touch it. I'm not dirty. Lulu loves to touch me. The little black cat cried. Your voice is so awful. With such an awful voice, you'd definitely be an ugly freak in human form. Besides, are you unable to become human? Taz said with disdain, deliberately adding a melody to his voice, making it even more beautiful. Compared to Little Black's, it was practically divine. You're a beautiful shell now, but your true form is an ugly freak, a mess. All the weirdos try to look like humans, but they're actually monsters, incredibly ugly. The more powerful, the uglier. You're the ugliest of all the weirdos. Little Black cursed Taz furiously, but as he continued, he suddenly realized he might have included Lulu in his curse. Yes, Taz and Wu Li's original forms were both monsters, quite ugly. But in many weird aesthetics, the bizarre is beautiful. Wu Li's aesthetic was different. She disliked the original forms of weird creatures, preferring human forms, the prettier the better. Xiao Hei suddenly shut down, his erect beastly eyes gazing guiltily at Wu Lu. Taz wasn't angry at being scolded, for he simply didn't take him seriously. He even taunted, Overseer, how can you oversee the dungeon with such a weakling like you? The two of them had stalled the dungeon's progress, and Overseer should have intervened at such times. As a result, Xiao Hei hadn't been able to approach Wu Lu for half a month, all thanks to Taz. Taz wanted to kill Xiao Hei, but knew he still had some use. Eat you, and I get out once, Taz said sinisterly, reaching out to strangle him. Wu Lu remained calm. She gave Taz a deep look. He truly knew a lot. Xiao Piaoyang wasn't simple. He just liked to play it innocent in front of her. If you eat it, you can go out once. Is it to Paradise Town? Or to the real world? Wu Lu asked. Taz turned around and said in a sticky tone, you only get one chance to go to Paradise Town, or any dungeon, and you can only go there for 3 days. Is the effect of taking the supervisor so small? Wu Lu frowned, as if distressed that this drug wasn't effective enough. It's okay. It's always there. It'd still be there in the next dungeon. You can eat it again. Every time you encounter it, eat it. You can go there as many times as you want. The room was candleless, the curtain still drawn, and Taz looked eerie and ghostly. Wu Lu liked Taz like this. She looked at the black cat with innocent eyes. Xiao Hei, you said we are good friends. Are you willing to help your friends? I want to go outside the dungeon. Let me eat you, supervisor. Even through his black fur, one could tell that Xiao Hei's face was dark. The little black cat struggled, but couldn't escape Taz's grasp. Suffocating, it slowly gave up its struggle, and said in a hoarse voice, I knew you eat me sooner or later. You don't care about me at all. Lele, see you next time. Taz exerted force, and with a snap, its neck broke. Thank you, Wu Lu smiled grimly in the darkness. Chapter 286. A gigantic, bizarre object shifted, its maw opening wide, and swallowing the black cat's corpse in one gulp. Taz couldn't help but reach out and touch her. Lele, you're so beautiful. The skin beneath his hand was uneven and dark brown. Strange Wooloo, Weiwei's eyesight was poor. Soon, she transformed back into her human form, slowly stood up, and licked her lips. Friends are so delicious. They taste a bit like me. Have you ever eaten yourself? I nibbled on my tentacles when I was bored. I have a lot of those things on my body anyway, and they grow back if I eat them. Haven't you ever done that? Wu Li's eyes lit up, as if she was eager for him to do the same. But there was no way. Taz wasn't in the habit of eating himself. I've only eaten your heart, nothing else. Next time, it's your turn to eat Xiaohei. You can go out and play too. No need. You can go. Xiaohei couldn't be shared. One person had to eat it alone, and then go out alone. Wu Lu was immediately excited to go to Paradise Town. Let them go. I want to give them a surprise. Taz reached out and tore off his robe, and he was instantly naked. He slowly turned his back, revealing his dented back, and then glanced back. Come on. Wu Li's fingers gently traced his back, and he couldn't help but scratch it with his nails. The flesh was broken, but there was no blood. There were sawdust between his nails. I want to leave marks of all colors on you. Red, purple, blue, black, Wu Lu enumerated. Next time, I let you do that. Wu Lu kissed the scars on his back. Taz shuddered, his eyes filled with joy. Knowing it was Lele and Dada who wouldn't let them go, the plastic squad was helpless. The three of them returned to their guest rooms, each lost in thought. Not wanting to see or talk to each other, it was pointless. Pei Lin felt melancholy. It had been almost a month since he entered this dungeon. Normally, he'd leave the dungeon every week at most, and now he hadn't been back for so long. Hopefully nothing would change. 10 more days passed. Just when the three of them thought they were going to retire here, the dungeon sound suddenly rang in their heads. Beep, dungeon data clearing. Bang! Su Chenyang opened the door and rushed out, and Pei Lin and Mo Feng also walked into the hallway. We're leaving the dungeon. Su Chenyang smiled happily, then ran to the room at the end. Lulu, boss, are you willing to let us go? The door opened, and Wu Lu said disdainfully, Tata and I want to go to the next dungeon, and we don't like seeing you three. Used to her hurtful remarks, Su Chenyang completely ignored them. Thank you, are we leaving now? Why? Do you still need me to tell you how to leave town? Wu Li's words were devoid of any kind words, as if she genuinely disliked them and didn't want to see them again. The old saying is true, distance creates beauty, the longer you're together, the more you dislike them. But they didn't dislike Lulu. Pei Lin approached, saying gently, I hope to see you in the next dungeon. Wu Lu blinked. If we meet, we play cat and mouse, and the cat will kill the mouse. You never tire of this game, Su Chenyang muttered. Mo Feng had already packed up and said, let's go. The three of them went downstairs and left. If they continued along the main road, they would be out of town, and they would probably find themselves at the round altar in Paradise Town. As they walked, Pei Lin keenly noticed footsteps behind them. Pei Lin stopped and looked back, and sure enough, he saw Wu Lu. Wu Lu was even wearing a simple slip dress, white shoes, straightened black hair with bangs, and no makeup at all. Su Chenyang, you want to come with us? Are you sure? Wu Lu said innocently, come on, I just tag along and see. Is that okay? You can come with us to Paradise Town, Pei Lin invited. Mo Feng, like Su Chenyang, was skeptical about whether she could actually get out. Last time she took the plane, she got on, but she didn't show up in Paradise Town. Wu Lu threatened, if you ever talk to me again, I eat you. The three of them immediately turned their heads away, saying nothing, and walked on. There were the steady sound of footsteps behind them. The town's exit was not far away, and at the entrance stood a stone tablet inscribed with Merry Town. The three of them stepped over the tablet, their figures gradually blurring into a semi-transparent state. Merry Town Dungeon, reaching the ending Mom Loves Pinocchio. The three of them vanished. Wu Li's eyes widened, he licked his teeth, and with a single swift step, he too leaped forward. In an instant, his entire body felt lighter, and he vanished. In the distance, a handsome young man watched this scene, his face slowly turning pale, as if his energy had suddenly been drained from him. He felt a slump. 3 days. I let you go and play for 3 days. After 3 days, you must return to me. Taz's eyes darkened, a smile playing at the corners of his pale lips. Wu Lu opened her eyes again, and nearly lost her balance. She grabbed hold of someone nearby to steady herself. A bustling, noisy voice echoed in her ears. Oh my god, I almost died. Luckily, I was smart. We're all back. Everything's fine. Woo woo woo. Some cried, some rejoiced. Some wondered, hey, why are you holding me? A female player had just left a dungeon when someone grabbed her arm. She jumped with fright. Turning her head, she saw a strikingly beautiful girl, the kind of beauty you never forget at first sight. Her skin was impossibly pale, her long black hair with bangs, and her mysterious aura made her stutter a little. Wulu looked at the streets and buildings before her. The tallest building was no more than 5 stories high. This was a small town shaped like a Tai Chi Bagua diagram. They were currently standing on a circular platform in the town's central square. Everywhere was filled with the scent of human life, men and women, young and old. Wulu watched curiously, like a child at a strange amusement park, brimming with curiosity and excitement. Her hand never left the female player's arm. Suddenly, 3 tall figures slid through the crowd, not apologizing for bumping into someone. Their eyes fixed on them, they rushed over at top speed. Palin grabbed her arm, his hands trembling, his handsome face filled with disbelief and a joy he couldn't even register. You're here. Lulu arrived at Paradise Town. Su Qinyang and Mo Feng also rushed over. Boss, you really can do it. Su Qinyang didn't dare call her name. After all, it was the most wanted name among all the players in Paradise Town. Mo Feng observed Wu carefully. Are you feeling unwell? He showed the attentiveness of a tough guy. Wula didn't feel uncomfortable. She was in a good mood. Why are you so worried? This is a piece of cake for me. I used to just disdain coming here. Pei Lin, I heard your house is luxurious. I want to stay there. Let's go. I'd be honored, Pei Lin said gently, leading the way. Mo Feng, the Lone Ranger, had changed his usual style of disappearing into the crowd upon returning to Paradise Town, and he eagerly followed. Su Qinyang said, the place Pei Lin gave me is not bad either. It's a small, detached villa. Boss, you can stay there. Pei Lin has someone else at home, so it might be inconvenient. Someone else at home? Do you have a girlfriend? Wula looked at Pei Lin. Pei Lin, she's a friend. I can ask her to leave. Wu Li's face was filled with satisfaction. As they walked towards East Street, Wula suddenly felt several gazes fixed on them, with murderous intent. Suddenly, several players from the crowd rushed towards them, machetes in hand, and attacked them. In Paradise Town, fights and murders were commonplace. Passing players, fearing being dragged into the scene, instantly abandoned their surroundings. 3 men immediately surrounded Wula for protection, drawing their weapons and engaging in combat. Wula stood there, watching the show. The 3 men protected the leader well. No player could get close to her. Even though Wulu was the strongest and needed no protection, they still did it. A closer look revealed that these people were attacking Pei Lin. This sudden interruption put Pei Lin in a bad mood, and he had a grim suspicion. Pei Lin had killed those men and led them down a small path, with someone chasing them. After many twists and turns, they finally reached a safe place. Su Qinyang ran, panting. He asked, what the hell is going on? Did we offend someone? Why are we being attacked as soon as we return to Paradise Town? Mo Feng, Pei Lin, it seems they're coming for you. Pei Lin's face grimaced. Those guys just now were from the Black and Red Guild. Wow! Wula watched the scene with an exaggerated expression. Aren't you the boss of the Black and Red Guild? Why would your men attack you? Su Qinyang was puzzled. Pei Lin's face darkened. I haven't been back for over a month. They probably thought I was dead, and someone had seized power. They probably ordered a 24-hour security guard at the round altar, ready to kill me if I returned. I thought I'd see you in all your glory in Paradise Town, but I didn't expect you become a pariah. Wu Li's words were venomous. Chapter 287. Pei Lin wouldn't have been so angry about something like this, but it was Wu Li's first time on his territory, and he witnessed all this. It was so embarrassing. Pei Lin gritted his teeth. Su Qinyang and Mo Feng exchanged glances, each caught off guard. Su Qinyang already had a guess. It must have been Pei Lin's friend. Wula yawned. Can I still stay at your villa tonight? Yes. Pei Lin clenched his crescent moon and said, come on, I take you back to my house for tea. Wula clapped his hands enthusiastically. Pei Lin walked in front, silent, his dejected demeanor palpable even from behind. Wula skipped along in the back, with Su Qinyang and Mo Feng following her, one on each side. The path was deserted, and the entire journey was quiet. As soon as they reached East Street, Pei Lin was attacked the moment he appeared. Wulu immediately stopped and didn't approach, pretending not to recognize Pei Lin. Su Qinyang and Mo Feng naturally didn't move forward either, standing beside Wulu like bodyguards. Pei Lin was surrounded, 10 men against 1, yet he still fought with ease. The divine item was truly powerful. The weapons of those who struck the crescent moon shattered, and the tips of the long scythes slashed through necks, sending blood splattering. Pei Lin attacked the one in front of him, only to be attacked from behind. Even with his quick reflexes and the best weapons, such a relentless onslaught would have been exhausting. Su Qianyang was a little worried. "Boss, should we help?" Wu Le turned around. "What you want to do is none of my business. Anyway, I'm not helping. I'm here to have fun." Alas, it's Pei Lin's fault. This incident ruined my fun. She only had 3 days. She had to leave in 3 days, and every minute of her life was precious. Okay, the boss was so ruthless, completely uncaring about her subordinates. She felt that if her subordinates couldn't reclaim their lost territory, they weren't worthy of being her subordinates. Pei Lin had always been reserved and intelligent, and as the president of the elite guild, Wu Le had high hopes for him. But upon arriving in Paradise Town and witnessing this, Wu Le wouldn't intervene, not even with her own subordinates, because she wanted to see if Pei Lin's abilities were real. She ignored Su Qianyang and Mo Feng. Su Qianyang and Mo Feng were also hesitant about whether to intervene. They were teammates after all. As they were about to approach, Wu Le suddenly grabbed Su Qianyang and said, "Su Qianyang, is that a noodle shop over there? Is it good? Take me there, and you pay." She was eccentric. She had no dungeon points to spend, so she could only spend her subordinates. His subordinates' points were hers, such a predator. She wouldn't help her subordinates in need, but she wanted to spend their money. A boss with a bandit's personality. Wu Le was incredibly strong, ignoring Su Qianyang's words and dragging him towards the noodle shop. Mo Feng didn't follow, but instead stood by the roadside, waiting for an opportunity to strike. If Pei Lin's life was in danger, he would help. Pei Lin's back was slashed with several cuts. He had killed 5 men, and just when the situation looked like it was about to turn, reinforcements arrived. This street was the headquarters of the Black and Red guilds, so any unrest spread quickly. Pei Lin's decision to return openly rather than sneak into the villa was truly risky. Those who knew would think he was incredibly strong, while those who didn't would simply see him as overly arrogant. Faced with the increasing siege, Pei Lin remained unfazed. Mo Feng couldn't stand it any longer, and joined the fray with his double-edged sword. The moment he joined, he suddenly realized a group of people had arrived. They weren't there to kill Pei Lin, but to help him. Well-trained, those men attacked from behind, fought their way to Pei Lin, and finally surrounded and protected him. Mo Feng sheathed his knife, and looked at Pei Lin, his face stained with blood. He wielded his long scythe, like the Grim Reaper. Pei Lin glanced sideways. "Thank you." Pei Lin glanced around, and instantly locked onto the noodle shop entrance. A girl in a white dress squatted unrefinedly at the entrance, one hand holding a large bowl of noodles, the other holding chopsticks, shoveling noodles into her mouth, her eyes sparkling as she watched the show unfold. Also squatting and sipping noodles was Su Qianyang. His tall stature made him look even larger when he crouched, making him look a bit comical. Pei Lin withdrew his gaze and, scythe in hand, walked out of the crowd, completely ignoring the fight behind him. These reinforcements were his trusted confidants, people he had personally trained and selected. There was no way these people would defect. They would simply lie low, feign obedience, and wait for their Red Ace, Red Joker, to return. Even though Red Joker had been in the dungeon for a month, they still didn't believe he would die. They immediately noticed the men's movements, knowing Red Joker had returned, and rushed to reinforce him. No one approached Pei Lin all the way back to the villa. He hadn't spent all those years as the leader of the Black and Red Guild in vain. He wouldn't lose everything over a single upheaval. "Lulu, they're leaving. Should we follow them?" Su Qianyang asked. Wu Le raised his head and opened his mouth, pouring the boiling hot noodle soup directly into his mouth and devouring it. Then he handed the empty bowl and chopsticks to Su Qianyang and wiped his mouth on Su Qianyang's shoulder. "Okay, let's go." Su Qianyang went to pay the points for 2 bowls of noodles. His bowl was regular beef noodles, while Wu Le's had extra meat added to it, so it was more expensive. In the villa. In the living room, a man sat on a black sofa, his eyes sinister and his expression heavy. A moment later, the door opened, and a subordinate hurried in. "Joker. He's coming this way, and we can't stop him. More than half of the people we sent to kill him are traitors. They've all become his reinforcements." "More than half?" Yiming's face turned grim. "These people. I know everyone's name, age, friends, and relatives. They're all very obedient members, and they're all normal people. Why are they his people? Why didn't you notice?" He picked up an ashtray and threw it at them. The subordinates were also panicking. They had assumed that Red Joker hadn't returned for a month, so he must have died in a dungeon. This would leave them with only one leader, the present Black Joker. It was only natural that he would control all the power of the Black and Red Guild. And even if Red Joker returned, everything would change. In the Black and Red Guild, aside from the top brass, the lower-level members didn't know what the two leaders looked like. They only knew that orders had been issued from above to hunt down the man in the photo, and to guard the entrance to the circular altar, to be killed immediately upon appearance. They had no idea this man was Red Joker. How could Red Joker alone fight the entire Black and Red Guild? Killing him was a sure thing, but unexpectedly, something unexpected happened. They had thought this ordinary, obedient, and insignificant member had long been Red Joker's confidant. Yi Ming's defenses were broken. He hasn't managed the guild much these past 2 years. I've been the one managing it, showing up to offer condolences and giving my all. Why would they still choose him? The subordinates dared not speak. And then, outside, footsteps sounded, an oppressive feeling. Entering before the man was a blood-stained sickle, its tip gleaming silver, its blade smeared with blood. It reached into the room, dripping drops of blood onto the tiled floor. Pei Lin, reeking of blood, stepped in, glaring at them coldly. Yi Ming's pupil shrank, and he suddenly smiled. You're back, ha ha ha. Give me an explanation, Pei Lin said coldly. Yi Ming's smile broke, and he said viciously, what more explanation do you need? Don't you understand? There's no room for 2 tigers in one mountain. I want to be the only Joker. You haven't been back for so long. I thought you were dead, ha ha ha. Why didn't you die in the dungeon? How did you come back alive? Chapter 288. Yi Ming couldn't understand. He had clearly spread the news of Pei Lin's death, yet, aside from a few objections, the entire guild was completely obedient. He effortlessly seized control of the entire guild in a matter of days. The feeling of being in control was truly wonderful. Once you have it, you never want to lose it. Pei Lin had been in a dungeon for so long, and it was unusual. Yi Ming hoped he was dead, but he was also afraid he wasn't. Subconsciously, he felt he wasn't. So, he sent a number of people to monitor the Yuan Inn, revealing Pei Lin's features, and ordering members to kill anyone they saw. They had no idea who they were killing. Yi Ming felt everything was flawless. He imprisoned the few disobedient members, waiting to squeeze out every last ounce of their worth. Just when Yi Ming thought he had completely succeeded, Pei Lin returned. Yi Ming thought his net would trap Pei Lin, but Pei Lin attacked him. Pei Lin looked at the stranger before him, and a bright young figure flashed through his mind. Hello, my last name is He, and my given name is Ming. You can call me Yi Ming or Ah Ming. Don't be afraid, we will definitely get out alive. Don't cry, your brother is free. I'll be with you from now on. We are brothers. Yi Ming, let's start a guild. Just like in the game world, there are guilds of all sizes. There aren't any proper organizations here yet. This is a blank slate. This is a good opportunity. Pei Lin, let's pick a code name. Keep it a little mysterious, and don't reveal our real names. We won't reveal our faces to future members except to the first generation. How about naming it after the Jokers and playing cards? Ah. Clown? I don't want to be a clown. It's not cool. A Joker is a clown, but he's also a winning trump card. Now that you put it that way, it makes sense. The red clown is bigger than the black clown. But the guild's name always comes with black first, the Black-Red Guild. This was a delicate balance between them. But over time, the balance gradually tilted, finally collapsing. Pei Lin wanted an explanation. Although he already had the answer in mind, hearing Yi Ming's true thoughts still made him feel a little uncomfortable. There were footsteps behind him, and he knew who was coming. Wu Le didn't enter the door, but simply leaned in, holding on to the doorframe. From outside, she heard Yi Ming's roar. TSK, human nature. I didn't expect to see such a wonderful show on my first day in Paradise Town. Yi Ming noticed the girl who suddenly poked her head out, and cleverly guessed a possibility. She's not human, not a player, right? Pei Lin glanced back at Wu Le, but didn't answer. Yi Ming's thoughts grew increasingly alarmed, his emotions surging, his steps stumbling. He approached. How could a monster appear here? Impossible. This is humanity's last safe house. Who is she? Just a beautiful female player, right? Clearly your type. Is this the girlfriend you brought back? Mo Feng and Su Qianyang immediately entered the room, blocking Wu Li's path. Su Qianyang was annoyed. What are you talking about? Shut up. Our boss has a boyfriend. Boss? Your boss? Yi Ming was confused. Pei Lin raised his hand to stop him, preventing him from approaching Wu Le. He said coldly, Are you going to do it yourself, or am I? Yi Ming's expression twisted. You want to kill me? You were the one who tried to kill me first, but you weren't capable enough to succeed. Pei Lin didn't want to look at him. Yi Ming, you said you didn't want to go home. I know your original intention has changed, but I don't blame you. It was your choice, and we could still go on like this. But now, if you want to kill me, we're no longer friends, let alone brothers. Do it yourself. I don't want to dirty my hands. He could have anyone's blood on his hands, but not Yi Ming's. Many people had arrived outside. They were Pei Lin's men. These were all members of the Black and Red Guild, each an elite member, though their membership time varied. But even the newest members, Pei Lin had personally met, mentored, and taken them on dungeons. These people had all met Red Joker, and were even grateful to him, but they tacitly kept these secrets to themselves. Yi Ming rarely went on dungeons, concentrating on the guild's most lucrative mercenary business. He didn't pay much attention to Pei Lin's frequent dungeon runs. Yi Ming was ambitious, but not meticulous enough. He even felt that the guild's growth was solely his responsibility. The members outside worked in an orderly manner, clearing the streets of bodies and blood, then returning to their respective posts. Those who had accepted employment orders took their employers on dungeons, while those who didn't were free to move freely, rest, or go on their own to gain experience. The Black and Red Guild continued to operate as usual. In the villa, only Wu Lu, the three members of the plastic squad, and a deeply shaken and broken Yi Ming remained. Pei Lin tossed a knife to Yi Ming. Yi Ming, staring at the knife at his feet, backed away, then looked up and begged for mercy. I can't die. I want to go home, Pei Lin. We agreed to go home together. Did you forget? Don't kill me. I was just confused. It was those people from the other guilds who instigated me. You haven't come back, and everyone said you were dead. I was just possessed by a ghost. We are good brothers. Did you forget? Strange, Yi Ming was a complete stranger. I don't know you, Pei Lin said. Then let's get to know each other again. Hello, my last name is Yi, and my given name is Ming. You can call me Yi Ming or Ah Ming, and we go home together. Yi Ming acted out his old self. He remembered what he said in the first instance. Hearing this, Pei Lin felt no relief, only disappointment. So Yi Ming had been awake the entire time, becoming this way. Wu Lu had almost finished watching the show. She found this man's nagging annoying. Before anyone could react, Wu Lu swiftly picked up the knife from the ground and stabbed it fiercely into Yi Ming's neck. A horizontal slash severed half his neck, severing the aorta, and blood splattered everywhere. She was covered in blood, her skirt stained, but her face was clean. Yi Ming's eyes widened in pain, disbelief. Blood continued to flow from his mouth, and he made unpleasant noises. He could no longer speak. Before he died, Wu Lu mimicked his tone and said, Hello, my last name is Wu, and my given name is Lu. You can call me Wu Lu, Lulu, or anything else. Lu. Yi Ming collapsed to the ground, breathing his last. Pei Lin watched the scene with a grave expression. Su Qianyang immediately looked at Pei Lin, then stepped forward and whispered, He's no longer your good brother or friend. So many people wanted to kill you along the way. If you hadn't held back, you would have died a dozen times already. He deserved it. Was Su Qianyang trying to comfort him? Pei Lin was dazed for a moment, then finally displayed his usual expression of indifference and said, You've spoken. Su Qianyang saw that Pei Lin was fine, so he didn't bother to pay attention to him. Su Qianyang ran towards his boss. Hey, you're covered in blood. Why don't you get out of the way? I take you upstairs to wash up. Pei Lin approached. Lulu, I take you upstairs. You can choose any room upstairs. Wu Lu happily went upstairs. Pei Lin led the way, with Su Qianyang and Mo Feng following behind. Not long after they reached the upper floors, several members arrived to collect the bodies. They quickly cleaned up the bloodstains on the first floor. On the second floor, Wu Lu immediately took a fancy to the master bedroom. Pei Lin knew from the traces in the room that Yi Ming had lived there. He was about to say something when Wu Lu suddenly said, A house where the dead have lived is auspicious. The third younger brother, Chapter 289. The sound of running water could be heard in the bathroom, and the faint humming of a song could be heard. In the master bedroom, Su Qianyang and Mo Feng were changing the sheets, quilts, and other items, erasing any traces of Yi Ming's life. In the study downstairs, several core members, who had been imprisoned by Yi Ming, had been rescued, and were now discussing guild matters with Pei Lin. Red, Yi Ming has close ties with the president of Guild S. Especially after the 10th day after you entered the dungeon, he met with the presidents of Guild S and Rongshan. After returning, he suddenly summoned us here to make a statement. Anyone who hesitated would be locked up. It was obvious that it was Guild S and Rongshan Guild who instigated Yiming. Pei Lin disliked dealing with these guilds, because he had seen through their hypocrisy from the beginning. They played the game of kings, were obsessed with profit, and engaged in open and covert infighting. Pei Lin simply wanted to take care of his own little world, and didn't want to deal with them. If they wanted to hire elite players from the Black and Red Guild to clear the dungeon, they would charge the normal market price, regardless of their status. Yiming, however, saw it differently. He believed that everyone was of equal status, guild leaders, core figures in Paradise Town, like heads of state on Earth. They couldn't isolate themselves. They needed to sit together at a round table to discuss matters, big or small. Pei Lin didn't say isolate the country, but simply didn't want to wade into the muddy waters and witness these people's intrigues. So, Yiming had always been responsible for diplomatic missions. He was more familiar with these people. These guild leaders needed the Black and Red Guild to ensure they could return alive from the dungeon. On the one hand, they needed the Black and Red Guild, but on the other, they were wary of it. Envy, jealousy, hatred, only resentment that their subordinates couldn't guarantee a 100% survival rate. Since they couldn't do it themselves, what if they took over someone else's achievements, sowing discord, forcing the two leaders to kill each other? A good strategy. Outsiders could see Yiming's greed, the growing rift between him and Yiming with each passing year. He hadn't left the dungeon for 10 days, and those people had just begged him to believe it. Is Yiming stupid, or had he been planning this for a long time? The result is obvious. Pei Lin, issue a notice that Black died unexpectedly, and Red will now take control of the Black-Red Guild. This notice gave Yiming plenty of respect, simply stating that the death was accidental. But with all the commotion on the streets here, many players must have overheard or seen it, and rumors are sure to spread. Now that Yiming is gone, will we still go to guild meetings? I go if I'm here. I'm going on a dungeon. I'll woo you go. Ah Wu was rescued by Pei Lin, loyal and devoted, and he trusted him deeply. Not attending guild meetings would be tantamount to giving up his voice in certain matters, and Pei Lin had come to understand that now. Some of Yiming's ideas were correct. When they first founded the guild, they had complemented each other, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, gradually building the guild into what it is today. After building up their initial influence, Pei Lin focused on finding ways to disrupt the game, not worrying about trivial matters. Pei Lin had his own trusted factions, and so did Yiming. Yiming enjoyed managing the guild. Aside from the mandatory 1-month dungeon run, he stayed in Paradise Town and had his own trusted factions. Although they didn't see each other as often as before, Pei Lin felt that this was fine. The two of them balanced each other out. Pei Lin shook his head, a headache aching. He stopped thinking about the past and focused on the future. Carefully sort out the list of all members. Remove those who are Yiming's men. Some of those who attacked and assassinated Pei Lin were killed, some were captured, and some were lurking in the shadows, undetected. Oh, Red. They are all elites we trained. Removing them wouldn't just allow other guilds to take advantage. Yiming is dead, and you are the sole leader. They will be loyal to you. Oh, I won't allow even a single traitor to turn their backs on their companions in a dungeon without hesitation. I understand. Oh was about to leave. The study door opened, and a pleasant female voice rang out, Pei Lin, kill those traitors. Don't let anyone else take advantage. Wulu wore a white shirt and black pants, the sleeves and hems pinched several times, making them clearly men's clothes. They belonged to Yiming, but they were new, and he hadn't worn them yet. Wulu liked them and wore them. Pei Lin, I've already eliminated quite a few people. There aren't many traitors left. You don't want to kill? Then lock them up. I take them to a dungeon in 3 days. I need some little mice to play with, Wulu suggested, then wondered, how did you become the leader if you're so indecisive? To put it bluntly, he's indecisive. To put it nicely, he has some humanity. Wulu isn't humane, but she doesn't care. She's the boss of her subordinates, and her subordinates are the boss of the Black and Red Guild, which means she's the boss of the Black and Red Guild. Chapter 290. All looked at the woman who walked in. She was very young, and though she was dressed simply, she was instantly memorable, her face so beautiful it seemed almost inhuman. She actually addressed Red by his name, and with the air of a superior directing a subordinate. Who is this person, exactly? Pei Lin's focus was on, you're leaving in 3 days? Just 3 days wasn't like her style. There were other people here, and Wula didn't want to reveal his identity, so he said, I'd be going to the dungeon in 3 days. Leave those of yours to me, bundle them up, and I take them away. If they follow you, they have no chance of survival. Some of them aren't guilty of capital crimes, but simply joined the wrong group. Expel them from the guild, and let them survive on their own. Pei Lin would show no mercy to those who raised their swords to kill him. Take the traitors who had rushed over, for example, and Wan Wei had beheaded them all. But some people didn't understand what was happening at all, simply following orders from their superiors, unaware of who they were killing. With Yiming dead, Pei Lin wanted nothing more than to purge the entire guild, leaving not a single termite or grain of sand behind. Wu Le understood Pei Lin's words and suggested, I take them with me. Those with ulterior motives will stay, and I send you those who are useful. Pei Lin was shocked. Lula had actually yielded so much, even sending people after entering her dungeon. I know what kind of people you like. I picked them for you. After all, I love playing this kind of game. She never tires of playing the game of human nature. What's that look on your face? How else do you think the three of you got out alive? Su Qianyang and Mo Feng were at the door and heard all this. As expected, Lei Lei had gone easy on them. Ah was confused, but he understood that this girl had saved Red, and that Red respected her deeply. Ah, go out first and finish what I just told you to do. Yes. Ah left, and Su Qianyang and Mo Feng came in. Mo Feng closed the door behind him. The four of them gathered in the study. Wu Le sat down in her office chair and looked through the things on the table. They were all lists. She said casually, Su Qianyang and Mo Feng, join the guild and become second in command? Su Qianyang and Mo Feng looked at Pei Lin. Pei Lin said calmly, okay. Wu Le said, tell me the basic power dynamics in Paradise Town. Pei Lin knew all this best. He said, there are 6 guilds in Paradise Town, Black and Red, S, Bright, Rongshan, Star Realm, and Jingui. Our Black and Red Guild is known for its elite members, making up 1/3 of Paradise Town. Guild S is the largest, with a mixed crew, including veteran players and newcomers. It's a bit chaotic, and it also occupies 1/3 of the territory. The remaining 1/3 is occupied by the remaining 4 guilds, Bright, Rongshan, and Star Realm. The 3 guilds were small and of average strength, but they had their own streets and buildings, occupying a small area. Jingui was an all-female guild, recruiting only female members, and also occupied a small territory. Although it was composed entirely of women, it could compete with any of Guangming, Rongshan, or Xingjie. Pei Lin added, there are actually many small guilds, but none of them have more than 30 members. They are more like small teams, unwilling to join large guilds. There are also many lone rangers, even very powerful elite players, who are unwilling to join any organization. Take Mo Feng, for example. And now Mo Feng listened to Wu Le and joined Black and Red. Wu Le listened, pleased with his own guild. Guild S uses a human wave strategy. The others simply got rich early and occupied the territory, preventing other new small guilds from flourishing. Ours is the true powerhouse. Pei Lin, have you ever considered destroying other guilds? Starting a war right away, truly weird. Pei Lin, I'm not interested. I have more than enough resources now. I live comfortably here. No one can do anything to me, and there's no need for me to steal from others. My only goal now is to find a way home. That's why I haven't continued to develop the guild in recent years. I'm not interested in that. Wu Le listened with dismay. Although she understood Pei Lin's meaning, Weird was restless and belligerent. Oh, that's what you think. Other guilds, like Guild S, might not think the same way. She accurately predicted. Wu Le said with a sly grin, if I kill you and take Yiming as my subordinate, it would be very interesting. In 3 days, I make this place a bloody mess, with no peace. The 3 men's expressions shifted slightly at these words. Su Qianyang was the first to break the silence. Lulu, don't scare us. Wu Le rolled his eyes, thought for a moment, and said, you don't have to seize other people's territory, but I won't let you stop here. Continue to recruit members according to your standards, the more the better. Pei Lin saw Wu Li's ambition, and from her expectant expression, he suddenly felt his inner spirit stir. This feeling was all too familiar. It was the same feeling he had when he and Yiming first founded the guild. He used to work tirelessly in dungeons, befriending players, screening players, inviting players, and training them. It was grueling, exhausting, and even nearly fatal, but his fighting spirit burned brightly. But after the guild grew, Pei Lin calmed down, even becoming a bit withdrawn. He spent most of his time dungeoning alone, for no other reason than to find a way out of his phobia of gaming. Now that Lei Lei had reignited his fighting spirit, Pei Lin looked forward even more to the future of the guild. A powerful guild he could trust with any member. Okay, I start training the team again, and make it even stronger, Pei Lin promised. Wu Le gestured at the 2 people over there with her chin, You three can come together. You three have excellent magical items. One is an attacker, one is a defender, and the other is a mind reader. You can do more dungeons, practice your chemistry, and become stronger as quickly as possible. I hope I can see your progress the next time I see you. Before, she just taken on a little brother, just for fun, but now, she was serious. Wula raised her eyes slightly. I don't like the weak. In this strange world, the strong are respected. I am very strong. Those who are too weak are not worthy of being my subordinates. Her words, I am very strong, showed a hint of endearment amidst her disdain for them. These words ignited the fighting spirit of the three men, their hearts surging with a greater desire to become stronger and look forward to the future. The Black and Red Guild lost the Black Clown, but welcomed her from the darkness. Yi Ming is dead. Besides issuing an announcement, are you going to hold a guild meeting? Wula hinted with a wink. Pei Lin understood immediately, but hesitated. If you show up at the meeting, I'm afraid they figure out your identity. After all, your face is so unusual. Su Chenyang, who had accompanied Pei Lin to a meeting before, also said, those people are very curious about you. While it's incredible that you're here, it would be bad if they figured it out. That's right. I can't be exposed my first time here. I want to muddy the waters, have fun, then expose myself, and then enjoy their desperate expressions. Wula looked forward to it. But a meeting was indeed necessary. Pei Lin wanted to announce to everyone that he would be the sole leader of the Black and Red Guild from now on, and also to warn those with ill intentions. You don't have to take me with you. I go by myself. What? They didn't understand. I go to the meeting by myself. Isn't there an all-female guild called Jingui? I join it now, and have them take me to the meeting. Wula suddenly had an idea, feeling playful. Pei Lin warned, only second-in-command members can accompany the leader into the meeting room. Since you're new here, they definitely won't take you with them. Lei Lei, you're already the leader of the Black and Red Guild, and you want to join another guild? Su Chenyang also said, you're giving up your job as the leader and wanting to be a younger sister in another guild? Mo Feng, Lei Lei, you're so strong, you could sneak into the meeting room without anyone noticing, right? The three younger brothers were incredibly good at talking, and they coaxed the leader into a frenzy, ultimately forcing him to give up on joining another guild. Once the formal conversation was over, Wula couldn't sit still. 3 days, 3 days. She only had 3 days. Su Chenyang, go out with me. Chapter 291. Pei Lin had important matters to attend to. Mo Feng was a quiet person, unable to speak a word. Wula didn't want to play with these two, so he asked Su Chenyang, a free man, to take him out. Wuli's eyes lit up, clearly filled with anticipation and excitement. Judging from this, Su Chenyang felt he didn't have enough points to spend. Su Chenyang, I transfer some points to you. Pei Lin seemed to be able to read his mind, understanding what was going on. He also instructed, Lulu, have fun. The master bedroom closet has been cleared out, so you can buy lots of beautiful dresses. As Pei Lin spoke, he transferred points to Su Chenyang. Every player has a player ID. Entering their player ID allows transfers. Su Chenyang's eyes widened at the sudden appearance of 5-digit points, and he exclaimed, how many dungeons will I have to play to earn that back? The taciturn Mo Feng also suddenly transferred a 4-digit amount of points to Su Chenyang. Su Chenyang turned and looked at Mo Feng in surprise. What are you giving? Mo Feng said, I usually buy items pretty casually, and I don't have a lot of points saved up. I'm giving these to you. Take Lei Lei out for some fun. We were all underlings, and we all showed our respect to the boss. While it was obvious who the richest person was, it couldn't all be done by one person alone. Everyone contributed. Wula said sarcastically, it's a good thing I accepted Pei Lin as my underling. Otherwise, with all of you poor guys, I wouldn't be able to afford a few dresses. No matter how poor I am, I can still give you an extra bowl of beef noodles. Let's go, boss. Su Chenyang led Wula out. The two of them were left in a study. Pei Lin asked Mo Feng, why have you always been so alone? And now you're willing to join the guild? It's not all because of Lei Lei, right? After seeing so many ghosts in human skin, I don't like being around people anymore, Mo Feng replied calmly. Pei Lin smiled. It seems you're very satisfied with us and willing to join us. Mo Feng also smiled a rare smile, because I see life in you. Players in horror games are either crazy or lifeless, most of them mentally twisted and dark. But in Pei Lin and Su Chenyang, Mo Feng immediately saw the purity in them, the purity of their single-minded desire to return home, the vitality of their lives. Mo Feng longed for this feeling, so he was willing to get close. It's amazing. What connects us isn't humanity, but a spooky being Emophone sighed. She's different from other spooky beings. I even see something similar in her that I see in us, Paylin whispered. Yes, Emophone agreed. Su Qinyang, I'm hungry. Why are you hungry again? You had a bowl of beef noodles 2 hours ago, and then I took you out for soup dumplings, lotus leaf chicken, fish balls, fried tofu, fried fish, and 3 fresh rice noodles, all the way from East Street to West Street. Are you still hungry? He stared at her belly. Wu Lu was wearing a white dress, calf-high socks, cloth shoes, and a hairpin in her hair. She looked stunning. The hem of her dress was a cake-shaped skirt, so it was hard to tell if her belly was bulging. I'm not like you guys. I eat a lot too. A huge amount, you know. Wu Lu rolled her eyes at him. You're not reluctant to part with your points, are you? Pei Lin and Emophone transferred so many points to you. You're not going to keep them for yourself, are you? Su Qinyang's expression was heartbroken. How could you possibly suspect me of embezzling points? Am I that kind of person? What you said is so hurtful. Lulu. Who knows if you be blinded by money? I can't spend many of these points, and the rest will go right into your pocket. Just be happy. Wu Lu pulled her cheeks, made a face, and stuck out her tongue. She was so childish. Su Qinyang joined her in her childishness. It's not even dark yet. Hurry, spend it all. Don't leave me a penny. Who are you looking down on? Come on, lead the way. Go where the most expensive things are. The two of them were bickering and making a scene on the street. Little did they know, someone had already noticed them. Both were strikingly beautiful, especially the girl, with dazzlingly fair skin and a charmingly seductive smile. In contrast to the two people feasting and drinking, there were many starving players on the street. They were reluctant to spend their points on food, saving them for items to keep them alive in the dungeon. The wealth gap in Paradise Town was stark. The streets here were just like the real world, with food, lodging, and entertainment facilities all available. However, these were all monopolized by the 6 major guilds. Ordinary players had to spend points to eat and stay in hotels. Otherwise, they would have to go hungry and sleep in the wild. Wu Lu and Su Qinyang had been eating and shopping all the way, buying new dresses and other items, and then having them delivered back to their villa. They were clearly wealthy, and their behavior was particularly arrogant. Su Qinyang took Wu Lu on a stroll, stopping and playing along the way. When they reached the youth hostel he had stayed at before, he introduced them. It had bunk beds, 8 to a room. It was probably a different person every night. With the curtains drawn, no one would disturb me. If I was unlucky enough to encounter a snoring player, I wouldn't get a good night's rest. Su Qinyang recalled his previous life. Although only a little over a month had passed, it felt like a lifetime ago. I stay here for 2 nights after I get out of the dungeon, then grab a bowl of noodles or a rice bowl. Once I'm well fed and rested, I head back to the dungeon. I never stay too long. Wu Lu, choking on a candy, mumbled, Aren't you super grateful I found you a sponsor like Pei Lin? That's right. From now on, we eat, drink, and sleep at the third brother's place. Su Qinyang said this without a second thought. Ha ha ha. Wu Lu laughed. Before they knew it, they had reached Guild S's territory. The streets were crowded. A long line of players lined up in front of a relatively inexpensive bakery. Wu Lu, surprised by the situation, thought it was some kind of delicious food and quickly joined the queue. Although Su Qinyang wasn't a new player anymore, he'd been busy dungeoning, and had little knowledge of Paradise Town. He had no idea what was going on, so he joined the queue. The line's too long, boss. Why don't you go to the shop across the street? I queue up here. Okay. Wu Lu turned and walked away. But before she gotten far, someone caught up with her. Wu Li's eyes flickered with a smile. The tip of her tongue swirled the candy against the inside of her cheek, causing the flesh on her cheek to bulge. She turned and headed down the path. The others behind her all followed, keeping pace. Wu Lu felt relieved when she heard the noise. She didn't stop until she was nowhere to be seen, turning back to wait. The others turned the corner, and saw the beautiful girl standing there. They were surprised, and the look in her eyes made them inexplicably nervous. Why are you following me? Wu Lu asked innocently. Miss, our guild leader wants to see you. Leader? Wu Li's eyes flashed with disappointment. Wasn't he the guild president? He had only attracted a small leader. But then again, she was just an overly pretty female player, nothing special about her, so how could she have caught the guild leader's attention? The team leader had someone come to stop her, because she'd been squandering points and acting suspiciously. Wu Lu feigned fear, and obediently followed the group. Su Qinyang waited in line for a long time before realizing that this group was buying basic bread, which was relatively cheap and only available to members of Guild S. It was a benefit of Guild S, guaranteeing members a basic diet, and it wasn't delicious. Su Chenyang left the group and went looking for Wu Lu, but he searched every nearby store and couldn't find her. Su Chenyang's search grew increasingly anxious. Although he knew no one here could hurt Wu Lu with her strength, he was still worried. It was over. He lost the boss.